As an adult, don't we all miss spring break? Nothing like taking a week off from all your responsibilities. Well, here's the next best thing for adults, a spring break from house payments. SaveWithConrad.com can help you get rid of all your credit card debt just like that. We're routinely helping our listeners save $5, $6, $7, even $800 a month. And you don't need perfect credit or money out of your pocket to do this, but check this out. No house payments for 2 months at SaveWithConrad.com. NMLS number 2129, Equal Housing Lender. SaveWithConrad.com.
Perfect. You guys feeling good? Ready to go?
I'm ready. Really good.
All right. This is a little different, 83 weeks, and I'm really, really grateful for the opportunity to come in and talk to two guys who I have an amazing amount of respect for a lot of reasons that don't have anything to do with professional wrestling. So we're going to talk a little professional wrestling, but we're also going to talk about life and how wrestling is the gift that keeps on giving. You know, Lori and I talk about that all the time. I don't know how many times I thought my career in wrestling was over and it was in my rearview mirror and I wasn't going to have anything to do with it. And then somehow or another, you end up back involved, even peripherally. And it is the gift that keeps on giving. There are certain opportunities that come your way in life that probably wouldn't have come your way had you not met the people you met, had the exposure that you had. But you guys have taken the gift that keeps on giving to an entirely different level. I'm just proud to know both of you. We're going to talk a little bit about all of that. But Paige, I got to say first, man, it's the first time I've been here.
Right.
I mean, I've known you for, I don't know how long now, 40 years.
Yeah.
And I knew of what you're doing and followed it, was impressed by it. So a lot of the videos, I've changed people's lives and improved their lives. But it doesn't quite have the same impact if you're not seeing it live. And I was blessed with the opportunity to watch you working with Lexus. Well, I'm going to try not to cry. Because it is pretty cool.
Thank you, bro. Means a lot.
Pretty cool. And Lex, we'll get into history and all that. We've told those stories before, so there's no reason to tell them again necessarily. But to be here and see you in person, going through your workout, and more importantly, feeling the joy. Because I've watched you in your interviews. I've done interviews with you and live interviews. And I've been saying this for years. This isn't a new thing for me. It's one of the reasons I've become so respectful of you and influenced by you in many ways, is how much your life has changed. And you used to walk into a room and it was like, oh, here comes Lex.
No doubt.
I gotta do a promo with Lex today. Not that it was that uncomfortable, but there was a difference between, okay, it's time to do something with Lex because of your vibe. It was just
I didn't like being with Lex back then. I
can imagine how you felt when Lex felt.
I kind of liked him, but he could yell.
You're a high tolerance for pain.
I know I'm a lot.
Oh my God.
So were you. Today I'm still a lot, but it's different.
It's much different. And that's the magic between you two guys is how you've come together and how your life has improved dramatically.
Yeah.
I mean, you said it to me on the way over here. You've never been this happy as a human being,
100%.
as an adult especially, and your life has changed so much. But before we get into the nitty-gritty of it all, what's the most recent Lex Luger update?
Got married.
Ah, I love it.
I'm just like totally. You guys threw Cody on me for the Hall of Fame thing, but I've been like just atomic bombing all my friends that didn't know. I was like 17 years, didn't date. No women in my life at all. And I met this girl last year, Robin, and we started hanging out a little bit, and sparks started flying and a little bit. And so we were going to elope, but we ended up, Pastor Steve, you've heard about him, walking the foot of the cross. He was in my hotel room, and we got down and prayed, and I got saved April 23rd of 2006. Then he ordained me like about 9 years later, and now he married us Friday night on the back patio of our house, just a few people there. And we didn't want to do the big wedding thing, but it was really special. And have Pastor Steve there for my salvation, my ordination, and my marriage, like the trifecta. Wow. I mean, he's like my own brother. And you talked about Dallas and I. Sting's his best friend, Sting's his best friend, and not that we rank friends, but I mean, Dallas has become such the things he does, and we've done together. And I was the first guest at his house, and the way our friendship, we always got along. You're one of the few guys that tolerate me back in the day and travel with me. But,
until you froze me out.
Yeah.
Well, I was going to interject here.
What do you mean I froze you out?
Froze me out. I would have to bring a parker and gloves.
Oh, the
to
temperature.
ride with him in the car. And after a while, I was like, bro, I can't do it anymore.
I was a warm-natured buffalo boy, and with all that muscle mass I had, but I get cold now.
I know you do.
Muscle mass. Yeah.
There's a new sensation
Yeah.
for you.
Oh,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
now I know what it feels like.
Now I know how I froze everybody out. I go, man, it's cold in here. I go, what's wrong with you, Lex? People used to bring jackets to my condo.
Yeah.
They go,
Dude,
go
I
Lex,
know.
bring
I
a
was wondering.
jacket. I go, what are you talking about?
So was that because you were just comfortable in it, or were you wanting to burn more body fat?
I'll buy a phrase from Arn Anderson. My comfort comes first and foremost. That was my motto back then. But that was part of it. But my body temperature was so hot from that muscle mass.
Metabolism.
I ran hot. I was warm natured, so I was always sweating. So like I went out in the heat, the humidity in the summer here in Atlanta. Oh my gosh, I'd have to bring like 3 shirts along with me and change out. So yeah, I was very warm natured. So I kept my condo like a refrigerator. It was unreal.
And the car.
Yeah, and the car.
Well, see, we were talking last night a little bit about, what we remember, he and I, when we were coming up, and he lived across the street from me and all that. And it's like one of the things that stands out most in my mind is that all the big things that we've all done, right? You beating Hogan, you winning the world title. Those are our big seminal kind of professional wrestling moments. But when I decide to look back, and I don't do that often, I purposely don't look I don't look in my rearview mirror much.
Windshield guy.
I'm a
I tell you all the
windshield
time, I'm a windshield guy. I'm not a rear view guy.
Yeah.
That's why the rear mirror is so small. We're not supposed to be looking at that all the time, and the windshield's much bigger.
I love
Just
it.
keep our eye on the horizon. Keep on moving forward.
But when I do allow myself to go back and reflect on, the things that stand out of my mind, we were talking last night, laughing our butts off. It's, the road trips I used to take with him. Now, you liked it cold, and you used to have to wear a parka in the car. I'd pick Paige up at his house. We're going to drive to wherever, Birmingham, Alabama, or Dothan, or something that was drivable. And he comes out of his house, and he's got like 4 Tupperware things, containers filled with all kinds of
Concoctions.
It was all healthy stuff.
Yeah, concoctions, I call them.
Bowls of rice and tuna fish.
Yeah.
Which is cool, right? Except for we're driving down the road. It's summertime. He's in the front car. He's eating
The jumbo
his
gym
chocolate.
bag with everything he's digging for everything.
And when he eats half of a Tupperware full of rice or whatever it is, and it's like throw it out the window, which is great unless you're going 80 miles an hour and this stuff's all blowing back at you.
Or the car behind you.
Yeah, or the car behind you. But those are the moments that I remember.
How did you guys end up neighbors? Was that planned? You just lived on the same street?
No, we talked about that last
That's
night. It's
true.
like,
How'd that end up? What was that?
you tell it. You've got a better memory than I do.
What happened is when we started working together,
Right,
we were
right.
4th string color commentators and play-by-play guys. We were at the bottom of the bottom.
course.
The shows that run.
Yeah, I freaked out when I came to WCW. Eric was in charge. I go, Eric Bischoff's in charge. Wait a second, he was an announcer now.
And I was like at the bottom of the
I go,
list of
yeah, I go,
announcers.
how do you- Okay. I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's we talked about all that yesterday, but it's one of those things that where we started, we became friends out of that, like, working together, and we met with a pull apart fight. That's how so we
Like a real fun?
like a real pull apart, like a real fight, and that's how we met. And then later
With each
on,
other? Or,
With each other.
With each other.
Like a,
in the AWA.
oh, come on.
Yeah, and what ended up happening is
Oh, my gosh.
we both ended up working together and helping each other. And then at some point, did you buy the first house or I can't remember.
You bought the first house.
Dusty's wife, who's Cody's mom, Michelle,
Right.
she sold me this house in
Oh, she
Mapleton.
lived like real estate.
Right. And then she also sold E a house on the other side of the street, a house away.
No, he
Metro Atlanta. What are the odds of that?
And you bought, I don't know what the timing is exactly, but I think you'd been in your house for 6 months or a year before we bought. So it was just pure coincidence, right?
That's God's
Ended
work,
up
bro.
right across the street from each other.
How did you take that out outrageous Christmas decorating you guys right across the street.
It was awesome because I don't like doing that stuff. But my son Garrett and my daughter Montana absolutely love it. So
My gosh,
yeah, Garrett's
my head guy.
You had like a what's that place up in Tennessee?
Gatlinburg.
Yeah, like Gatlinburg Yard.
Oh, you could see his. I don't know if the space shuttle was around back then, but if it was, you could see it from the space shuttle.
You see his house.
I was
satellite.
The king of the tacky. King of the tacky Christmas decorations. Of course, Kimberly inside had it immaculate.
If you go to his house, some of it's up year round.
Oh yeah, did he saw it?
I spent the night there.
I walked his house. I walked his house
downstairs. There's a big Christmas display.
It's a Grinch.
I knew he was moving to the beach, so I walked. My first brother, I knew he was getting the house ready and building. I go, oh, you moved your Christmas. I'm thinking, move this Christmas stuff up there, moving stuff out, and moving it down to storage or down to Florida, from Atlanta here. And I go, oh, you got your Christmas stuff. He goes, oh, bro, that's always up. Oh, okay. Wow. So
I took a page out of the Mick Foley book. That's what I did because he has a room that's all Christmas. And to tell you the guy,
who's big about Christmas? You or Mick?
Well, Chris, he takes it to the next step of actually being Santa Claus dying out the beard. Like Mick takes it to that level. But as far as decorations, I got him. You know, so that's the big competition with us. But it's really funny because that area that you're going up the staircase, that Grinch tree is up on a platform. It's way up in the air, and everything is there. I've said Paige, and Paige is the coolest. Mike is my person.
Just so you know, in case you're unaware, Paige is. We refer to Dallas Page as Paige. We don't call him Dallas generally, right?
Yeah, I do.
Paige. And his wife's name is Paige. So I'm going to tell you a funny story.
Do you know what her maiden name is?
No. McMahon. That's right. I do know.
Oh, come on.
You didn't know that?
No. Oh, my God.
First time I told Jericho that, he spit the water out.
That's insane.
All right, folks. Easy E here. And I've got to tell you, I've stumbled onto something that's revolutionized my wardrobe. True Classic. Now, finding clothes that can transition from the gym to the office and maybe even a hot date night, especially when the weather's playing games, going from winter to cold to spring tees, it's been a real pain in the ass until True Classic came along. These shirts, man, they hug your arms, fit your chest just right, making me look like I still got it. Well, giving the midsection a little room to breathe, if you know what I mean. Tailored fit, baby. That's what it's all about without the hassle. Now, I'm talking about the fit, feel, and get this, the price. Their long sleeve Henleys and fleece hoodies, absolutely must-haves for staying slick in the cold. Now, I'm gearing up for spring with their Pima Crew tees and Comfort Knit chino shorts. That's right, Comfort Knit chino shorts. Classy and comfy. I love that. And the activewear, moisture-wicking, odor-fighting, like they knew I'd be sweating it out before cutting a promo. Last week, I rocked one of their button-ups to dinner with some old wrestling buddies. And let me tell you, the compliments were kind of rolling in like it's 1996 all over again. Premium gear that doesn't cost an arm and a leg. What's not to love? So whether you're still bundling up or ready to strut your stuff into spring, you got to get on this, man. Level up your style with clothes that fit like a damn champ. Hit my exclusive link at trueclassic.com/83 weeks to save yourself some money while you're looking good. That's trueclassic.com/83 weeks. Shop now. Elevate that wardrobe and step into the big leagues, brother.
I laughed so hard first time you met a girl. Like, oh, that's great. I met her. She's beautiful inside. His wife is unbelievable. But you guys are meant to be together, man.
No, 100%.
But
100%.
The Paige thing, the first time I heard it.
Well, this morning I come down early, right? And I'm drinking a cup of coffee. It takes me a while to wake up. You know, I kind of go through my process. I try to keep it the same every morning. So I'm sitting down. It's quiet, still dark out, kind of. And I'm drinking my coffee. And I didn't have my glasses on, which, you know, I need my glasses. And I see her. So I see her, Paige's wife's sister, her name is Dina,
who just came in.
She just came in at midnight. I didn't even know she was there. I was asleep at 8:00 because she put me through this gauntlet workout, which was absolutely kicked my ass in a very fun way.
Ice, how long did you get to keep the ice there? Can we talk about that?
Do we need to talk? A minute and 4
You
seconds.
got in, but you did get in.
I
at
got
least.
in.
He got in strong. But
Oh, really?
He wouldn't
Was
look
it
at
like trash talk?
he wouldn't.
Okay.
He wouldn't look at me and have a conversation because he would have lasted 3 to 5 minutes. But he didn't. He was going to do it his way.
No, but just so you know, my way was focusing on my breathing. It's like, don't talk to me. I'm trying to survive.
Oh my God. How much more intense is a cold shower and you kind of lose your breath? Way
It's
more intense?
different. Like walking into the cold shower for me was harder than slipping into the plunge. Just that initial shock.
Right.
But after about 40, 45 seconds, because you can't move, like when I'm in the shower, I can move around a little bit or turn around and give this side a break and, hit the front.
You're
You
sitting.
can't do that in a
You're
tub.
sitting, yeah.
So you're in it. And I'm going to do it again tonight when we.
And he was 44 degrees. So that's not chicken.
What's the normal temp? What do you do there?
Well, no, that's why I keep it for Paige, so she'll go in it. But I would do 39. And 39, that's cold. That's really cold.
But I was excited because I do the ice cold shower in the morning. I
Yeah.
do it for an endorphin rush because
Rejuvenating, yeah.
it takes you. I told Lori the other night, I said, man, if I could figure out a way to get this feeling mentally and physically in a pill, I'd be like the Pablo Escobar of health. But your body does it naturally for you if you allow it to.
You'd be on Fox News selling it, virally.
Yeah. But
You get the pill form.
I love the endorphin rush. It obviously your metabolism kicks up a couple notches for a while.
Yeah.
It helps you stay lean because if you come up to your neck, that's what hits the carotid artery.
Point
and burns the
taken.
burn fat.
Point taken.
Round
People
back.
used to ask me my excuse back in the day, why do you keep your place so cold? I said, because I always want to stay lean. I go, people don't realize, but your body maintaining its temperature when it's cold burns more calories than if you're out sweating out in the heat. People think it's the opposite, but it actually is true.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
I even after I did the first ice cold shower, and I got up to about 2 minutes on that, and I was digging the endorphin rush so much. I went outside and ran sprints in my shorts, no shirt, 24 degrees, 28 degrees.
How long were your sprints?
I would do like a Tabata type of workout. So I'd sprint hard for 20 seconds and I'd walk for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, sprint again for 20.
So your knees are that good.
Yeah, but I got to be careful. I can't do it too often. Like if I do it twice a week, that's good. If I start pushing it, I'll be knocking on the door because I'm bone on bone.
Yeah, that's why I asked. Because we're all there.
But on sprints, you kind of sprint on the balls of your feet more than letting your heel hit. So you can manage it if you're careful and aware of it. But yeah, I love the cold plunge was awesome. And then
I got you off track. You were in the kitchen and you saw.
Oh yeah. Thank
his
you. Because I go off in different
No,
directions.
I got you. I asked you the cold thing. I got you.
But no, I'm sitting down at the kitchen
Coffee,
table,
yeah.
half asleep,
Waking
blind
up.
as a bat, and I see the silhouette of this woman coming down, and she told me her name, but in one ear and out the other because I wasn't awake yet. And we're sitting there talking, and she goes, "Yeah, I'm Paige's sister." I'm thinking, why have I not met you before? Because I'm thinking Paige's sister. And I'm talking to her for like 35 or 40 minutes, learning all about her life. Her husband's a pilot. She used to be a pilot. Her 15-year-old daughter's here for a volleyball team. We're talking like, and then finally it dawned on me. And she goes, "Oh, no. Paige is my sister, not my brother." Now it makes sense.
Paige, not Paige.
Yeah. So
Oh my God.
I've started,
Paige McMahon Page.
Yes.
so
Yes.
we're now
That's
starting
funny.
to call Paige Dallas so that I don't confuse myself.
Yes.
with everybody else.
And that's what I told people. I'm like, don't even bother. Just go right to Dallas because if not, we're both going to be going what? And I still do it when some of my family and my mom, before she passed, she had given her girl page and boy page. That's how she goes, "I'm not calling you Dallas." I didn't name you Dallas. I was like, "Hey, whatever. You can call me whatever you want." But my sister knows. When we're out in public, she calls me Dallas because the bottom line is that it's confusing. And more than anything, each of us are a brand today. on top of being a human being and a person, we have things that we work on, and they know you as Eric Bischoff. If your real name was Bill Bischoff, they would not know who that is. And the biggest reason I changed my name illegally over 25 years ago, cops, and I don't know about you, but for me, every cop who ever pulled me over, when they realized I was Diamond Dallas Page because of the way I looked, DDP, hey, man. So I'm telling Rich Minzer. Remember Rich Minzer?
Oh, yeah.
Gold Club. So
Gold's Gym.
Gold's Gym,
not
Gold
Gold
Club.
Oh, my God.
Wow,
Big difference.
Freudian slip there.
All right, I've got a little public service announcement for anyone who rents. If you haven't heard of BILT, you're about to thank me. Earning points on rent is now a reality when you pay your rent through BILT. You don't even have to check with your landlord to start earning points that you can use towards flights, hotel stays, fitness classes, and even your next rent payment. Let me break it down for you. There's no cost to join BILT, and as a member, you'll earn valuable points on rent and on your everyday spending. BILT points can be transferred to your favorite hotels and airlines, and even the ones you haven't heard of. There are over 500 airlines and over 700,000 hotels and properties around the world where you can redeem your BILT points towards. Points can also be redeemed towards a future rent payment and unique experiences that only BILT members can access. So if you aren't earning points on rent, my question is, why not? Start earning points on rent you're already paying by going to joinbilt.com/83weeks. That's joinbilt.com/83weeks. Make sure to use our URL so they know we sent you. That's joinbilt.com/83weeks to start earning points on your rent payments today.
It's Atlanta.
So me and Rick are going out to some club. This is over a decade ago. Oh God, it's like 15 years ago. And wow, how that time go out fast. But we're going to this club, and I'm telling him the story of why I changed my name, because the last cop who had pulled me over wanted license registration. I was using a car that this car company gave me to use because I did commercials for him, whatever. And the guy says license registration. I said, I don't have the registration, but here's my license. I said, they let me use this car because I do commercials for him. He goes, oh, DDP, you cut your hair. And I was like, I got to change my name. So I'm telling him that story. I go through the deal. I get it changed. And I'm telling Rick, right as you know me when it comes to driving, there's packed. It's Hollywood Boulevard that everybody's on. And it's so crowded. I missed a turn. I'm not going to go all the way down and get around and come around. So I just made a U-turn. Woo! Cop pulls me over, right? This one I'm just taking. I'm not even going to try to talk myself out of this one. I'm just going to take the ticket. So I hand the guy my license, and he's looking at it, and he goes, Dallas Page. He said, how do I know that name? I looked at him, I went, DDP, gave me right back my license, and I didn't get the ticket. And I was like, yes, I did that.
What do you do with getting pulled over so often?
Well, for getting pulled over because speeding.
Yeah, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Especially back in the day. I've only been pulled over once in the last 10 years. But you would actually like my driving better now.
It was a frightening experience. Because there's always, he's not driving the car. There's 4 or 5 things going on while he's driving.
He remembers. He remembers. God.
Yeah, video cameras watching stuff up on the dashboard.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, getting married Friday night is kind of a big damn deal.
Yeah.
How did you meet Robin? How did you meet your wife?
I met her 36 years ago in Chicago. I was married, and I kind of hit on her, and she said, I don't mess around with married men. So I thought she was a cutie pie. Our paths crossed various times through the years arbitrarily. She worked for, she was a reporter, news girl in Chattanooga. I do media stuff. Robin. And I bumped into her Lifetime gym in Atlanta one time. I was married, got divorced. So she was married for a while. And then we were both available. It's crazy how we got back together. I went to Buffalo to look after my mom for 7 years.
Right.
I changed my phone number. And she thought, we used to text each other once in a while, say hey. But that was it. And she tried to get a hold of me and my old number. I didn't blast out my new number. I was going through my contact list this past summer. I was cleaning it up. And a lot of times we go do stuff for weekend. Someone's picking us up,
Sure.
right? I'll put their name in. And Robin can be a guy or a girl's last name, first name. So I'm looking at my contacts. I'm in ours, and I see this Robin. I go, that must be somebody who drove me around. I was this far from my little finger of deleting it, millimeter. And I tell her the hand of God stopped me. I stop. I go, could that be Robin
Wow.
from Chicago? Because I figured I would have had Chicago next to it. Could that be Robin from Chicago? So I don't ever dial numbers of somebody I'm not sure who it is. And also, it turns out Robin never answers calls if she doesn't know the number. So I was dialing with a New York number. She worked at Morgan Stanley and was expecting a call from New York. So when she saw New York, she answered. When she normally would never, I called the number. And a female voice, she was outside. I couldn't recognize the voice. I go, hi, is this Robin? And I hear her hesitant, yeah. I go, Robin from Chicago? She's like, yeah.
Wow.
I go, this is Alex. She goes, oh my gosh, I've been texting you. I just gave up. I figured, I know you're ghosting me or what happened. So we ended up having lunch and started seeing each other and hanging out since last year. And we got married Friday night in the back patio.
And I remember a few months ago, you said, hey, start dating again. I go, really? You go, yeah, really like her.
My friends were shocked at that alone. I had 17 years. I was doing like the Apostle Paul thing, stay single and focused on what I do. But yeah, and I was looking after my mom, so I wasn't looking to go out on dates with women and stuff. So yeah, there wasn't a real reason why I didn't. I always just said, a lot of guys, I just felt as far as marriage, when I felt that I trusted God. There was a woman for me out there. She had to be special because I've got, I'm in a wheelchair and have mobility issues and stuff. Turns out she has a son who's an adult now, who she's managed all these years and held a job as a single mom, and he's got a severe form of epilepsy.
Wow.
So she's had to learn to navigate with him. So she has that. I mean, she's like second nature with me, helping me get around. It's like unbelievable. Like God prepared her through her son to be with somebody like me and not look at me differently, right? To make a long story short. So we hit it off, and my issues I have mobility wise, I'm healthy, but I have mobility didn't phase her at all because of her son. So it was crazy. Yeah, all
such
that.
a great story.
Yeah. So it's
so what was it? I mean, without getting too personal,
Yeah.
if you haven't been in a relationship in 17 years, you'd kind of put that off to the side, I guess.
Zero,
Is the
yeah.
best way to say it?
A lot of friendships, and I look after my mom, but no a woman. Yeah.
Sure. But what were you nervous about that?
Very nervous. She said the first time we went out, I was like a statue. Like she touched my arm, and she said I was like a statue. She said, her friends said, well, how was it? How was your first date? She was like a statue. I couldn't tell whether he liked me or not. Because I was nervous. Hadn't been around a woman in that kind of setting in 17 years, so it was wild. Yeah. But then 5 hours later, there were sparks flying. And as a believer, we don't bed down or move in with your woman before you get married.
It's not recreational.
But man, there were some sparks flying. So I kind of said, well, what are your thoughts on marriage? She goes, well, I never thought I'd get married. She's the same as me. She said, I never thought I'd get married because my son, I'd look after him. He's an adult now, but he needs to be monitored 24 hours a day. Mm-hmm. So I said, I just never thought I'd get married. What man would want to buy into that and all that stuff? So I'm like, okay. She said, but I never thought I'd really.
Do you think she knew where you were
so
going?
We were just saying, yeah.
Did she know what
so finally got to the point where I said, well, if we thought about getting married, what's the next step? I'm saying, like, you want to pick a date or something to get married? What do we do? Because it's been like almost 40 years for me, right? Well, over 40 years. I didn't know what the marriage is. I'm like, well, I go, so what do you want me to do? Like, I'm looking for guidance. I'm like, do we set a date? What do we do? She goes, I go, or do I like get a ring and get down on her knees? She goes, that might be nice. I'm thinking, I'm in a wheelchair. So we went out to dinner. I don't want to go too long on this because we got a lot to talk about.
No, I want to hear about this. This is
so
awesome.
we're at a really nice restaurant, fireplace roared. I got a corner table. I'm in my wheelchair. She's sitting where he's at. And I start pushing the table out. I went and got a ring. So I'm pushing the table out. She said, what are you doing? Why are you pushing the table out? What are you doing? And I pushed the table out. And I kind of turned the chair, but I put my wheelchair cushion down the floor. There's a crowded restaurant on Friday night. It's packed. Everybody's like looking at, what's that guy doing? What's that guy in the wheelchair doing? And I got down to me, asked her to marry me on my wheelchair cushion. And it was very quite the moment. And
You're killing me.
Yeah, the whole restaurant we went back there right after our in the same spot for a little small get together with our family right after the wedding on Friday night, the same spot at the same restaurant. Yeah.
That is such an awesome story.
Yeah. Very cool.
And does her son live with you?
Yeah, he's 24-hour care. She's got amazing what she's done with him. She's been working and has around the clock people that come and look after him when she's not there. So amazing, yeah. He's very functional, but he can have he has like a rare form of it. If he has a really bad one, you have to like take him to like an emergency, like basically, potentially. Right. So he needs to be watched.
Another example how wrestling is the gift that keeps on giving. Here's somebody that you met however many years ago because of wrestling.
Media stuff, yeah.
Because of wrestling.
Basically.
And now here you are telling us about your wedding Friday night.
Who would have thought? But I told you guys off camera, I was just bombing my friends with it. No one knew I got married. I'm calling them all on speakerphone. Hey, you're on speaker with my wife, Robin. They're all like, hey, like, did you say your wife, Robin? I told the guys, I've got 87 variations of the word wow. Wow. I mean, I've heard every wow.
How good was Nikita's?
Nikita's was the best. He did wows for like 2 minutes. Wow. You say something, go. And then about Thursday, you go, wow. He's like, oh, it's unbelievable. He was great. So yeah, it's been fun. Yeah.
And you obviously you seem happier than
Over
I've
top,
ever seen you.
man.
I mean, you're just
17 years, you know, I am a guy, so it's been quite the weekend. There was a lot to unleash. Without getting into any details. Woo! We had a weekend.
All right, let's talk about one of our favorite sponsors here on 83weeks.com. We're talking about Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions with a B dollars awarded in winnings. Prize Picks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. You just pick either more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best way to get action on sports in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. The app is simple, man. Create a lineup. All you have to do is pick more or less on a few players for your shot to win up to 1,000 times your money. Prize Picks is the best place to win cash while you're digging sports, man. Join over 10 million users and sign up today. On Prize Picks, you can mix and match player projections from different sports. Combine your favorite basketball players with players from baseball, hockey, esports, and so much more. Prize Picks offers Venmo. They make it easy on you, bro. Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account all during sports season. The second half of the basketball season is here, and the race of the playoffs is heating up. It is one of my favorite times of year, and it's really heating up over at Prize Picks. Don't miss your chance. Cash in on the league's best fight for playoff positioning. Like, for example, do you think LeBron James will go for more than 24 points this week? Giannis for more than 35? Cook up your hot takes with your friends, win some real money, have some fun this basketball season, and run your game on Prize Picks. This is really simple, man. Download the app today. Do it now. It makes it so much easier. And use the code 83weeks to get 50. Yeah, I said $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Want to hear me say that once again? It's simple to understand. I don't want to make it more confusing than it needs to be. It's real simple. Download the app today. Like right now, when you're done listening to this read, you're going to get $50 credit to your account instantly after you make your first $5 lineup. It's that simple. Prize Picks. Run your game.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a wow.
Is right.
It was a wow weekend in every way. Yeah.
but I think that's a big part of life, right?
Yeah.
And
Well, God formed us to have a wife and holy matrimony and common interests and hopefully be spiritually yoked. She's a believer, and then there should be the physical attraction, for sure. They call it the three-legged stool.
It's a healthy part of life. But I think the thing that I was excited about, in addition to that, was now you got a partner.
Yeah.
And it's everything.
One of those things you don't know what's missing to it's
To have
it's
it.
like, wow.
Yeah. And
It's
then
really
and then
cool.
when you have it. So
You've
happy
got a
for
great
you.
one. Lori, all these years, my gosh.
It's amazing.
What a trip journey you guys have been on.
She's a wonderful woman, and she's a very positive person.
Oh,
but what she saw in me beyond, a good time, I have no idea, because it was what it was. But to see that transition and to see you guys coming together, and like I said, when we started this, I had a chance to watch the workout that you're putting Lex through, and man, it's like we were all put here to help each other, but you guys are taking it to an entirely different level. Of all the stuff that you've done, Paige, in terms of helping other people, take the wrestling part aside. We'll talk about wrestling. Well, eventually we're going to get to wrestling, but not to rank success stories, but what amazed you? What's an outcome that's really surprised even you?
Jake. I tell you, there's 5 things I'm incredibly proud of, which is my wife, my family, my girls. Of course, world title, Hall of Fame ring. This community that we've created with DDP Yoga started with my buddy Chris Gabriano, putting a couple people together to try to help inspire each other and keep making each other accountable. Now there's 78,000 people on it. That's on that list. And
you have 78,000 people
on that, and helping each other like you've never. At DDP Yoga, just like this, one word, Facebook. You have to become a member. You become a member, then you get to read these, because people are putting, like, I have people take 6 pictures, and I'm saying you should really take them so you can see your body, because you're going to want those as down the line. And long story short, people, they would put up pictures that you would never see anywhere, but it's a trusted community of helping each other, reaching out and commenting and help encourage each other. And the resurrection of Jake the Snake, like that Jake ever went through. I remember going to see Triple H when I first started bringing Jake into my house, and Scott by this time was in there as well. And I told them that not
St. Dallas.
not Scott wasn't in yet. The first time I went to see him, I just moved him in, and I was doing the very best of Nitro. And we were trying to get lunch together, but he couldn't. But he said, "Come in, and I want to talk." So I said, "Listen, I'm not saying I'm going to be able to get Jake Roberts sober, but I am saying he's really doing good. It's been 30 days. He's sober. It has ups and downs, but bottom line is, I just wanted you to know, and I'm going to keep you abreast of it." The exact same thing when it came to when me and Lex started working. I wanted him to know that here's where Lex is at, and here's our goals, and here's our dreams. And I'm not saying you guys are going to put him in the Hall of Fame this year, but hey, next year, at some point, we all know, and the same thing we had talked about.
He's the master of the drip.
We're just making people aware.
Spokesperson for his company just trips on.
But if you
fire tripper,
if you don't make people aware, then they don't know, right? So with Jake, Paul was like, "Good luck with Jake," and then Scott came in too, right? So now they're both working towards this goal of getting sober and having a real life, and they were helping each other. And I ran into Paul at a radio station that had like 20 radio stations. Sure. Just happened to be there because I was in town doing something, and I was doing the radio show, and he was doing another one. And he pulled me aside and he said, "I'm not saying this is going to happen, but we've got this thing. People have got to be sober for a year before we even consider that, if that was an issue." And he said, "We both know those guys should be in, but that day is not today or this year or whenever." Right. But the bottom line is he watched and he saw. And I wanted him to know little spots where Lex was working really hard. Do we have him walking yet? No. Was he close? Yeah. Who knows? We don't know. We don't know. But the work that's been done and his strength and being able to, when Cody jumped right out of the chair, and there's a point in time when I said, can you jump out? Can you pop out of this? You're with no hands. He's like, couldn't do it. So we've got the footage of the struggle.
I was like in cement. My butt was like in cement.
Yeah, couldn't get out of it. I go, it's okay. That's now. If we keep going with all these exercises,
just everyday quality of life things. Standing up to brush your teeth instead of being in a chair trying to get toothpaste out of your mouth. Every little thing you go through taking a shower, that just to be able to stand, get upright easily and stuff makes a huge difference quality of life.
So this, when you talk about the time that needed to be put in, I owed Jake to me. And I wanted to pay him back, and I wanted him to be able to walk away from this business, him and Scott both, where they should be in a Hall of Fame, And the bottom line is, Jake was a daily thing in the beginning. Today, this Jake I know today, we just call and talk, and been sober for almost 14 years now, and like he's
always grinning now.
Yeah, he's a different
like
cat.
you, brother.
He's a different cat.
He's got a nonstop grin now. It's unreal.
This was as challenging, but not, because when Lex does stuff with you, he's going to put the work in.
Right.
He wants to get up and out of that chair. He wants to have mobility back. And he doesn't drink. He doesn't do drugs. He's
Anymore.
a great kid. Right. He's a different cat.
That wasn't one of the hurdles. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Sure.
it wasn't easier because it's a whole different avenue.
Yeah. Spinal cord injury is different.
Did you know that when it happened to him that I was there? Did I tell you that?
I vaguely remember that because I was there as well. I wasn't there,
Right.
but I was in San Francisco.
You guys know where I'm at, Faith. But that's a hand of God. He was there in San Francisco the moment I got paralyzed. He got into the room with the 911 guys. I saw Dallas over there. I didn't want to go to the hospital. I thought I was dehydrated, even though I was paralyzed.
I didn't know this.
I was paralyzed from neck down, but the guys picked me up off the floor, told me to bash the door down and couldn't answer the door because they didn't come downstairs for my appearance. 911 came, bashed my door down, picked me up off the floor. I'd fallen to the floor trying to get to the phone with my head. I rolled off the bed and fell up against the nightstand.
So you had no use of your legs or your arms?
Nothing.
At all?
I was like a magnet pulling me through the floor. Who knows what paralyzed like? I thought I was in one of those old metal diver suits, and a magnet was pulling me through my bed. All I could move was my head and shoulders. I was paralyzed from here down, and I tried to get to a phone. I don't know what I was going to do, dial with my big schnoz or what. But I fell to the floor up against the nightstand. I couldn't breathe. And man, they finally, make a long story short, bashed the door down. When I couldn't answer the door, they knew I was in there. And because the lock was double locked. And there he was in the room.
I'm going to tell you how it happened.
Talk about God, I feel like God connecting us.
No doubt.
Come back full circle now. He's like my brother, like him and Sting. I mean, unbelievable. First guest at his beach house. Oh my gosh. He has like a Lex suite.
So yes, we did.
He was on the phone with me. Leading up to it like a shower. Bro, what do you do shower with grab bars? Where do you put these grab bars? I'm like, leave me alone. He's like, dial me up. It's because what he cares about people, right? And that's what you do, man.
Yeah, it was Paige who
really touched
designed
my
the
heart.
room for him, so everything was wheelchair accessible.
I didn't tell him I got emotional when I went there, and he showed me my room. And it was
How could you
the
not?
view. Oh my gosh, I was like getting choked up.
Yeah, it was super sweet.
Then I broke a bottle of new cologne. Does it still smell like my cologne? It has these marble tops. I dropped my bottle of cologne. It smashed. The room smells like
Lex,
like Savage or whatever it is.
like Lex.
Savage Dior.
So how this thing happened is I'm living in LA at the time, and I'm hanging out that day with Eric Watts, and he starts telling me how much Lex has changed and he's found Christ, and I'm like, no way. And he's like, no, really, I'm telling you, he's a different person.
So now how much time has passed since San Francisco and the conversation with Eric Watts?
The conversation with Eric Watts was over 17 years ago. Because 17 years ago, you get paralyzed. Yeah. So it's literally like 3 or 4 months before.
Okay, that's what I was saying.
And I'm booked on San Francisco. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to go because there were so many guys. And when he told me that Lex was going to San Francisco. Let me back up. When he tells how beautiful a person he is, and how much he's changed.
So Eric's talking about Lex here.
Eric just wanted to beat me up.
Eric Watts hated Lex with a vengeance. Like there was 2 different times he was.
Which I heard you hated me. So you hear stuff.
Hate's a strong word.
Yeah.
Well,
I can say it with Eric.
Words, yeah.
I can say it with Eric because he'll be the first to say it. And
Eric Watts.
Eric Watts.
Yes. Oh, Eric, I heard.
We got Paige and Paige.
Yeah.
Watch out. Eric wants to
Very confusing.
Eric wants to beat you. You know what?
So he's telling me, he's talking with such like brotherly love. And I go, bro, you hate Lex though. And he goes, I'm telling you because I'm living with him now. I go, what? You're living with Lex Luger? He goes,
living for a while.
Yeah. He goes,
Figure.
I go, I've got to see this. So I've called the promoter. I agree to do it. He got to pay me before I come down. So I'll be in my room. You pay me. Dusty taught me that. I get paid. He leaves. And I said, let me know when Lex gets here. So I'm up there. I'm doing stuff. And all of a sudden he calls me back and goes, DB, Lex, I think he had a heart attack.
This is Eric that calls it. Eric Watts.
No, now it's the promoter.
Okay.
I'm in San Francisco. I just got paid. Maybe an hour or so goes by. Let me know when Lex gets here because I want to go see him. Just go hang with him and see him. And the promoter calls up. He goes, DB, I just got heard Lex had a heart attack. They had to break down his door. I go, they had to break down his door in this hotel. He's like, yes. I go, what room is he in?
Heart attack. No one realized I got my spinal cord injury. It swelled up. Yeah.
And I ran down to his room and ran through the door, and he's sitting there like this in the chair.
Leaned up, yeah, but I'm here down.
So, you know me, I come over, hey, Lex. He goes, Donnie D, how you doing? I give him a hug. I go, and I didn't notice he didn't move. It wasn't even in my brain,
You were just happy to see he was still alive.
Well, I was happy to see that he was good and that, I still want to talk to him, but right now the EMT is like, Lex, you have to go to the hospital. And he's like, no hospital. And I was like, Lex, you got to go. Because all the guys have some kind of thing happen to them. And sometimes that's going to be a really positive thing because they caught it. Now they can blow out. I'm thinking it's his heart.
He gave me the Jersey boy. He's being soft on it. Bro, you got to effing go. Go with you guys.
So he's like, and it was a guy and a girl, right?
I've been stubborn.
Yeah. So he said, well, my hips, I can't walk on them anyway. He said, I got the fused hips. He goes, so I really can't get up there. I said, well, I'll help you. And me and the EMT put him in the table. I'm thinking he's fine. It's his heart. And they took off and then, ended up coming. When I lived in LA, I came back and forth to Atlanta all the time. Now I hear he's paralyzed, can't only move his pinky. And then he's going to go to Shepherd. Tell him about the ride though. When you went on the ride, when you got to the hospital, the 2 guys, the EMT people.
Yeah, they were both wrestling fans. The EMTs, the girl front driver and the guy. He's hovering over me. I might have told you guys this. And the guy's over me. He's like, where do we take him? And they're naming a bunch of hospitals around the San Francisco airport and all. They're like this, let's not take him there. They go, what about Stanford, which is a world-class facility? It's like 45 minutes away. They'd pass probably 100 hospitals. And the guys look at her and he goes, we might get fired. Taking him there, she goes, let's do it. And they drove me all the way to Stanford.
And the nurse's name was what?
Well, when I got to Atlanta,
that would be good.
What was it?
He said Paige. I said her name was. Good, quick one.
Yeah, very
but
good.
His name wasn't it? Was Hope?
Well, the ambulance girl's name was Faith. When I landed
Faith.
When I landed in Atlanta, Delta cleared out 4 seats at first class. I'm a Delta guy, man. They took care of me. I landed in Atlanta. They pulled the ambulance right to the stairs. They're not supposed to do that. They're supposed to take you through the airport to where the ambulance can be like the center of one of the terminals. They took me right down the stairs. Her name was Faith. She said, I might lose my contract, but Lex, I'm taking you straight to Shepherd. And I got to that Shepherd. All I could do was look up, and they put me in room 316, which John 316. So I go,
what's the odds of that?
And Hope and Grace are 2 nurses in the.
That's it. That's it.
Not that there was any doubt in my mind when I got here, but if there was, it's gone.
Yeah, crazy.
There's just no.
Oh, and there's an earthquake on the way to the airport from Stanford to the flight. The ambulance was going like this.
Wild.
My life, right? My roller coaster life.
So
I don't know if I was going to make the airport, but we were going through an earthquake to get from Stanford to the airplane.
All right, folks, Easy E here coming at you live with something that it's got me more excited than a Monday Nitro main event. Via. That's right. Via. Not via. So don't mess it up or I'll have DDP hit you with a diamond cutter faster than you can say NWO. Life's a freaking whirlwind, and sometimes you just need to chill, focus, or let's be real, pretend you've got your crap together. Ever tried meditating to relax, only to end up stressing about how you're basically a Zen failure? Yeah, me too. And that's why Via is so over with me, man. It's like a cheat code for feeling good without the yoga pants or the incense drama. Now, I've been using Via stuff, specifically the THC flower, which is grown indoors. It's like it's got a VIP pass to the Hemp Hall of Fame. And let me tell you, it's a game changer. 500,000 customers, happy customers, can't be wrong, right? I mean, this isn't some gas station mystery junk. It's premium, lab-tested hemp from American farms, and it hits all the right spots. First of all, it's customizable. Microdose to keep the edge off, or maybe something stronger to melt you into the couch like a human puddle. Via's got you. From 0 to 100 milligrams of THC goodness. Secondly, the quality is so legit, man. I'm sleeping like a champ. No more 3 a.m. stare downs of my ceiling, and it's discreet. Ships right to your door. No sketchy alley deals, just pure relaxation in a box. My wife even caught me sniffing the bourbon leather gummies like some kind of weirdo. Eric, you okay? And I'm like, babe, I'm just chilling. So if you're 21 or over, here's the deal of the century. Hit the link in our description at via.co/83 weeks and use the cheat code 83 weeks. That's right, for 15% off, free shipping on orders over $100, and if you're new, a free gift. Because Via loves you, just like I love a good rating spike. That's via.co, that's VIIA.co/83 weeks. That's code 83 weeks. Do it now. Tell them Bischoff sent you. And enhance your everyday, you beautiful savages.
Unbelievable.
So me and Steve and Yoga Doc, we go.
Now, Steve,
you,
who works with you, your partner, right?
Who was the guy who took 500 hours of resurrection of Jake Snake?
Creative genius.
93 minutes.
A creative genius.
And, I create the stories primarily. He always helps me with everything, but he tells the stories because none of these stories, people, some people critical that I have these stories. That's why people are inspired. They're moved to action by other people. That's how this works. And where was I at? So me, Steve, you, and Yoga Doc, another one of my business partners, who's one of the best chiropractors on the planet, and really giving guy,
who's helped us a lot.
Yeah, a lot. And he, we go see him at Shepherd, and before you know it, he's getting his arm movement back,
A bit, yeah.
a little bit of leg movement back.
I'm a 2%er, they call it. My function as a quadriplegic for my type of injury, I'm like a 2%er. The traditional prognosis was 24-hour care, all that.
Can we stop right here for just a second? What was it like hearing that?
My family was devastated. They have a family meeting 3 weeks on Shepherd, and they say, with his type of injury, here's what we see. They're talking about, and they go, well, how's your house? Do you have ramps or you guys need to set this up and you need like a van or something for them, special van. I'm like, well, how long is that for? Like how long do we got to do that? And they go, I go, for the rest of your life. My family, I just,
What about you? What was your reaction?
You know, my reaction, you know, I had the Proverbs 3, 5, 6 on my chest every morning, like, trust in the Lord with all your heart, lean not upon your own understanding. Acknowledge him all your ways, he'll direct your path. So I like, well, God, I go, I don't know how to live this way, so either bring me home or teach me how. So I knew that whatever happened, whatever I was going to be, whatever my future held, I knew he had me in his hands. So I was like, not thrilled about being paralyzed from the neck down. I had some Eeyore days, I call it, from Winnie the Pooh, feeling sorry for myself. But I think I told you podcast, the guy came to me and said, you can be such an example. It's mostly young men here watching you on TV.
Right.
Like, stop feeling sorry for yourself. Get in there and be a light that shines for them. I said, man, I do still have a purpose. I'm not just like a sloth, paralyzed from the neck down. I still have a purpose that I can utilize to help other people, which is, Dallas says, when you sum up with D, not to embarrass you, but God gave him, I believe God gave you a special gift to serve and to help others. It's called the
100%.
gift of service and the gift of empathy. And that's what you have. And when I went to that beach house, I was so happy. He would never brag about it. It is so beautiful. The view is such a beautiful place. I mean, God, I feel like God's blessing you. God's rewarding you for all the help you've given me and other people. We're getting back to Jake with the drugs and everything, and that was maybe the project that impacted you the most, was Eric's question. But I'll tell you what got me was the Butterbean video. I told you that. Stings. That's what got me. When I saw how bad Butterbean was physically and where I was at and how my quality was going, when I saw we did with Butterbean, I'm like, man, maybe I should talk to D about working with me. Maybe I can be able to stand again or something and get out of the chair or have a better quality of life. So that's why I approached him at the Hall of Fame. That Butterbean thing got me, man. That thing you put
How long
together.
ago was that when you guys first started working out together?
A little over a year.
Yeah, a little over here.
What's funny-
Sting's retirement match, and we decided to start working together.
And it
We're in
was
the back.
March 3rd.
I came to him, I go, man, how think you can work with me? D, Jersey boy. Bro, that's what I've been effing waiting for. Like, let's do it. He was all in. I was like testing the waters with him. I know he's a busy guy. He's got this incredible company now. And I said, I want to know, do you have time to work with me? So he was all in, man, from day one. He's a special guy, special friend.
Now I forgot what I was going to say. Choke me up.
And a Jersey boy who gets emotional. I love it.
The thing with Lex, starting off, and me being there that day was so like
Frisco, the Hall of Fame
there,
thing.
and
There's
then-
two of us bumped in the back. We weren't where we were supposed to be. We're kind of in the back. Sting's family was at that one area there.
Yeah.
And we both bumped into each other. Geez, relax.
I heard you were coming, but he wasn't there yet. Like I
Yeah.
got there earlier, me and Scotty Riggs, and we got there earlier. And then I was like, man, I can't believe Lex isn't here. And he rolled up, and then he said that to me. I was like, let's go, bro. Let's go. And from there, it was a year to the day. We're in Panama City Beach, and we were just watching
from Dave,
me, you and
we
Steve.
decided to enter into this thing together and work out.
There it is. A year later, we're at the deal, and
First house guest at the new beach house.
and he's going in the freaking Hall of Fame, man. Because that was part of it. Like maybe I could at least
Mr.
be able to
Drip.
stand up, roll me
Mr.
out,
Drip.
stand
Triple H. Yeah.
stand up, and so
He was tripping on Triple H so much that he said he gave the name of his guy. Like, I'm not trying to pull you up, but talk to Ben.
But I got other
Like,
stuff to
you're-
do.
like you're
I don't know.
You're blowing
How
up
could
my
he be
phone
busy?
with your Lex thing. Talk to Ben. Yeah.
And they, of course, again, we talked about this last night when we were doing the gauntlet conversation. That when it came to Lex, he was the first shotgun cannon across the bow
Sure.
of the Monday Night Wars. He's just wrestled. Did you wrestle the night before with WWE?
I was on their tape. They had to pull me off their shows.
No,
Eric,
but-
that was the one thing, Eric, and I was like, man, I had a personal relationship with him. So I was at his house working out with him.
Ooh,
And
I didn't know
Eric
that.
said, Eric goes, no, you can't give him notice. That's my only condition. First, of course, he lowballed me to see if I had an attitude problem about it. But I never let that come. I'll come in and he'll see how good I am, and he'll give me a raise. Which Eric.
Well, it wasn't a matter of how good you were; it's a matter of where your head was at.
Right. But Eric was testing the waters with me. Kind of an attitude check, maybe. Only you can answer that. But I'm like, okay, I'll with my stiffness instinct vouch for Eric. So Eric's, if you come in, you produce Eric's. He's a businessman. He's a fair guy.
Fair dude, man.
Yeah,
Always
exactly. So I'm like, okay. And, that was, I was still on their TVs. They had to pull me off their TVs because you wanted to be a surprise.
Yeah,
right.
And it was.
But I didn't, but when Steve was on the phone initially a couple weeks before we met and decided to do it, I was still actually, people think I was trying to leave W. I was trying to re-sign with W, but I was trying to get a marketing deal outside of the wrestling contract. That's what held up. I gave my notice because we hadn't worked it out yet, but I wasn't planning on leaving. So when I talked to Sting in that conversation, I was close to resigning with some kind of marketing. I was going to do fitness, nutrition stuff on the side.
Right.
And Vince, I could tell Vince was, if I do that for you, I got to do it for everybody. Sure. From running the company. So, I talked to Sting. We're going to do a Monday night program. I'm like, really? I was like, good luck with that. Like,
That's what I thought.
We got Raw. Why would you run at the same time and the same night?
We had the same conversation.
So I'm like, I was like, good luck with that. So when he asked me to, when they agreed to bring me in, I was going to be on the first. They hit me. I mean, Eric could tell you, they hit me flew me in a different hotel on the other side.
Made you buy your own ticket, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't want your name to show up in the WCW travel.
I was at a separate hotel from everybody on a different part of town in Minneapolis. Brought me to the other side of the back side of the mall, and until really what we call the gorilla position WWE.
Yeah.
I walked up position. Everybody's like, "Who knew besides you and Sting and maybe Hogan?" Not probably very small, right?
I didn't even know. And he shared everything with me, but I didn't know.
I mean, not Sting, but did Flair know? He was in the ring.
No.
Because I saw the guys in the crowd, and everybody's like, "What's he doing here?"
Yeah. No, nobody knew. Because, this was obviously before the internet and social media and things,
Right.
but telephone, telegraph, wrestler.
Right.
Might as well just fly plane.
Luger's going to be at the first Nitro. He jumped. Yeah.
And you know what was cool about that, Lex? And people reflect back, well, why did Nitro have the success it had? And there's a lot of different reasons, timing being one of them. And I admit that freely. The market was ready for it, but we did a lot of research before we launched Nitro. Brad Siegel, to his credit at TNT, he didn't want wrestling on TNT, but he didn't get to vote.
Did they want wrestling at all?
No.
I told you I went to that ice sculpture thing in the opening of the old Brave Stadium, and they do the long range planning with the big money corporate guys were there. I was just a conversation piece as a wrestler.
Yeah.
And this was in '97 or something.
Right.
And they never mentioned WCW.
No.
And their long range planning.
Number one shot.
The big shots like almost didn't want wrestling. They thought it was like Southern lowbrow. They didn't want it.
They didn't want it.
Even though we were killing it in ratings at the time.
Yeah.
And, people to this day all have their, the dirt sheet theories about what happened with WCW, and they're clueless.
I went home with my wife and go, I better maybe try to make amends with Vince because I go, there's not going to be, I don't know how long there's going to be at WCW, the way that whole corporate thing went. Not even mention, I was there, didn't even mention wrestling. They're not going to have wrestling down the line.
And in '97, we were making money hand over fist.
Exactly. This was when we were
highest
killing
rated
it.
show. We were all over the media. The Wall Street Journal, there's an ad in the Wall Street Journal. ABC paid for it during the upfronts. A full page ad in the Wall Street Journal trying to convince advertisers not to advertise in professional wrestling because we held 3 or 4 of the top 10 positions for the week, not for the night, for the week.
But to be in our company's corporate AOL, I think it was AOL Time Warner yet?
Yeah. It was Time Warner.
Time Warner after. And then do the long, decade out productions with the people that had that thing, the other advertisers were like the CEOs of those network, and advertisers. These were the big ice sculptures, and this thing was high level stuff. Not even mention us, and we were the biggest. Yeah.
Highest rated original in the history of TNT.
We're toast. I
think we still have that.
They're going to get rid of wrestling as soon as they can.
I think if you look back, because Nitro was considered an original production of TNT. And
And low cost relatively compared to other
relatively,
things.
sure, compared to big action movies
Yeah.
and scripted things. Yeah, but I think we're still the historically the highest rated original series in TNT. And nobody will come close to it now because television has changed
It's
so much. It's
different
kind of hard to.
And Ted was out of it by then, right?
Ted was pretty much shown the door by late '98, early '99.
He was like the last thing. These are my wrestlers, and we started with that.
And
When he was gone, I was like, now we're really toast.
Yeah.
He saw a stock, but he doesn't have any say. So I'm like, ooh.
No, they gave him an office and a corner and a desk and a nameplate, and he was just basically a figurehead.
Crazy.
Paige, what is it that, I mean, I've known you for, I don't even want to calculate, I got to get a calculator to figure it out. That's how long it's been. But since I've known you, your instinct, your nature is to help other people. You did it in wrestling. You were like a kid that would bring home stray puppies. I was like, can we keep this one?
To you.
No, I know. I was like, can we keep this one? He's really good. This one does tricks. But that was always your thing. And now, obviously, we're seeing what you're doing on a much larger and, dare I say, more significant scale in terms of the benefit of others.
Place is state of the art, huh?
It's impressive. But at the core of Diamond Dallas Page, I won't say Paige Falkenberg because you legally changed your name, but at the core of Diamond Dallas Page, where did that come from? Has it always been like when you were a kid?
Instinct, because I was bullied as a kid. I was really skinny. I was tall, but I was skinny. I was bullied by guys and stuff, I'd listen to this guy named Zig Ziglar. He's still alive today.
I know.
And I mean, if you look at quotes by Zig Ziglar, like there's
Massive
about
amount,
20 that are as off the chain.
Him, Jim Rohn.
And he said one thing that really clicked with me, and it just became part of my DNA. And what it was is you can get whatever you want as long as you help enough people get what they want. And somewhere down the line,
How old were you when you came across
22.
that? 22 years old.
I remember like it was yesterday.
And one of the most dangerous parts of your lives. 22
22
to 35 is wicked dangerous.
By the time I was 23, I was running clubs, so I was getting people jobs and we were having fun. Like you wanted to work with me because I was going to make it fun. And I never considered it a job. Everything that I've ever done, even though it's a lot of hard work, I've never considered them jobs. Because I love what I'm doing and I would do it for free and have. And
Don't gloss over that. You and I were talking about, I don't want to mention names here because it's not important. What's important, though, is the commitment. And you put the person way ahead of the business. The example you gave me was like, yeah, I'll probably lose money on this for a while, but we'll see what happens later.
right.
That's a special gift, too.
And the belief in myself and we know how hard it is for a guy to come in and being a manager and not have any real wrestlers and end up in the AWA with knowing
Especially
no one.
as a manager, 6'4",
Right.
and he's managing Pat Tanaka, who's
5'8".
on a good day.
Listen up, folks. Life's too damn short to be walking around in bad boots. I mean, that's a lesson I've learned the hard way. Living here in the cowboy state, facing down every storm that the Rocky Mountains sends my way. Well, let's face it, you can't have a good time or even a good fight if your feet aren't happy. And that's why I'm telling you about Tecovas. These boots, they're the real deal. Anywhere worth going is worth going in good boots. And Tecovas delivers. Now, I got a pair of these handcrafted Sons of Guns on right now. And let me tell you, they're just built different. Over 200 steps go into making them, and you feel it the second you pull them on. Broken in comfort, straight out of the box. No blisters, no bullshit. I wear them whether I'm riding my horse all day or I'm heading into town for a big night with Mrs. B. And let me tell you, she loves my boots maybe as much as I do, maybe a little more. They're tough as hell, but they've got style that turns heads. They give me that extra edge, that confidence to stand tall no matter what's coming my way. Now, Tecovas, They ain't just for ranchers and cowboys. They're for anybody who wants quality that lasts. You're honoring the West when you wear them, leaving your own mark. And with their Best in the West guarantee, you've got free returns and exchanges for 30 days if they ain't your fit. But trust me, they will be. Right now, you can get 10% off tecovas.com/83 weeks when you sign up for email and text. That's tecovas.com/83 weeks. See the site for details. Tecovas, get yourself a pair and walk like you freaking mean it.
But they actually get that gig and to be able to use that and then get to meet Dusty. And I also realized very early on, it's not about who you know or who knows you. It's about who's willing to say they know you.
Wow.
Who's willing to put their name on the line for you. And like Dusty, there was one time when we brought Scott Hall on, right? I'm managing Scott now and the Freebirds, but we just did I want to say it was
WCW?
Yeah, WCW. And I had 2 smoking hot diamond dolls. We're all in white. Scott's in white. I'm in white. And I cut this promo about the diamond stud coming to WCW. And I had the gimmick, we'll call it the Madonna headpiece. And
you were like one of the first ones to ever have one, by the way. I never saw
I thought it was so over the top, his gimmick. I'm like, bro.
I thought it was a gimmick. I didn't think it actually worked.
I said, don't ever quit your day job. You won't make it in this business. You're way too over the top.
Well, let me tell you what happened with Dusty though here. So I didn't like the promo. I did, too much of a perfectionist. I was thinking, and back then, you know how over the top I was on everything, and annoying, and the whole deal. I get it because I was trying to find myself, and trying to find who is this guy. But I know who the fuck who Paige Joseph Falkenberg is. I know who I'm going to invest in me every fucking time, and so
don't believe in yourself. Who else is going to believe in you?
Right, 100%. So I get done with the promo, and now it gets off of us, and you can see the shot of the crowd, right? I go, come on, guys, let's get the fuck out of here. Next day, I'm on the road with the Freebirds, and Michael says, you got huge heat. Now, those guys are ripping all the time. So this sounded real, but with Mike, I didn't believe him. He goes, you got huge heat. I go, no, I don't. He goes, you do. I just got off the phone with Dusty. He goes, they want to fire you. I go, fuck you. No, they don't. He's like, no, they do. They do. And he told me what happened. I was like, oh, that's not good. And Dusty went to bat for me, or I was gone. So who's willing to say they know you?
Right.
And we had developed that relationship in Florida. And before we started this, me and you were talking about Cody leaving originally and what balls that took.
Right.
Got guaranteed money as Stardust, Cody Rhodes, to go off and become the biggest star in the world right now. That who would have seen that coming? But his old man, when WCW, because Ted had bought I guess Watts' company, Crockett's company, and whatever, and so he had all this talent, and he was going to call it World Championship Wrestling, and they wanted Dusty to be a heel. And he went, no. How about no? I'm going to go back to Florida and I'm going to pop that because he owned Florida when you were there. He could freaking sell out an arena, just doing his autograph. And he was so over. And I get that call from Mike Graham because Pat and Paul, my tag team, Bad Company, were wrestling at the Eddie Graham Memorial. And Mike Graham picks up the phone and calls me and says, I'd like to have you come in and be with your tag team. I said, I'd love to. So I get a buddy of mine that wants to be a wrestler, and I gave him the name Rock Hard Rick. And that no one's ever used that name kind of boggles my mind. That's such a great double entendre name. And so I've got him and 2 diamond dolls in my pink Cadillac. And we're going down the road.
This sounds so much like you.
And the AC's blowing, the car's running great. It just had some work done. Man, this car's doing great. I'm in Fort Myers. I get as far as Venice, which is still like 90 miles from Tampa. And I shoot blow a rod. and the car comes slowly over, and I get out of the lanes, but it's the exit lane. So I park in the middle, and I don't even know how I ended up getting AAA to come and get me. But these rednecks come running by. Hey, ain't you the guy who runs the Norman Jeans? I said, yes, I am. I said, are you guys wrestling fans? Damn right. I go, I'm also Diamond Dallas Page, and I'm going up to the Eddie Graham Memorial in Tampa. If you guys want to give us a ride, I said, I would love to get you in for free to the show. Hell yeah. They went and got some beer, showed up there was no girl in the middle, but now there's a girl in the middle of the seat. We got a case of beer. Me and Rock Hard Rick are in the back of the pickup, and it looks like it's going to rain at any moment. And that's when I roll.
There's a can in Florida.
Right, at any second. Yeah. And I roll into the Bay, whatever the Bay, I don't think it's the Bayfront Center, but whoever it was. That's where I meet, Johnny Ace and so many guys that would later become influential in my life of the business. And, a deal with Mike Graham remembered I came. Like, he knew what happened. So when Dusty was coming into the territory.
Still talking about Florida.
He says, he calls me up, and it's going to be probably 12:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. And I let it just go to the machine, because I got to get up. I'm leaving for AWA next morning. I had an 8 o'clock flight, which means you got to be up at like 5:30, to get to the airport on time and everything. And I didn't realize I could change the tickets back then. Whatever they gave me, I took. Maybe I worked there for a year. So that means I worked 12 times, except for the time where they did the run for Clash for that pay-per-view thing. So maybe I worked 15 times. But I hear his voice. And then
who's
Mike Graham.
Mike Graham's voice, okay.
DDP, it's Michael Graham. Oh, I run to the phone. I got sort of strep throat too. I run to the phone. Hey, Mike. Hey, I think I got strep throat. What's up, buddy? He goes. I'm sitting here with the American Dream, Dusty Rhodes. He's figuring out who he's going to bring into the territory. He mentioned Baby Doll and Gary Hart. And, I said, have you ever heard of Diamond Dallas Page? No one's really seen him yet. He's got really good energy. He's a good kid. He goes, I'm going to put you on the phone with him. I want you to blow him away like he's the biggest mark on the planet. I'm like, Mike, no. I just play him the videotape I sent you. And he went, the videotape machine is broken. You're up. And I just went, good God, Dusty Rhodes, the towel about, and I went on this rant where I stole his shit and Albano's shit and some of the shit I made up on my own, and like 45 seconds, and I go, that's all I got, Dusty. I think I'm getting strep throat. Hello? Dusty? It felt like 5 minutes. It was probably 30 seconds, and then only as you guys would know, he would say, was that a recording, kid? And then he invited me up there. He was just living in Dallas at the time. He invited me up there to meet with him. And I'm in the room with Mike Graham, Steve Kern, Gordon Soley, and Dusty Rhodes, who I would always call.
That's a hell of a room.
Hell of a room, man. Hell of a room. And I am just Jabroni boy who's been on, maybe in the business 9 months.
Oh, my goodness.
And I've worked 9 days, right? So I really know nothing. And Dusty says, so tell me who Diamond Dallas Page, the real person, is. So I did. And I knew I wasn't going to quit my nightclub job because that paid me great money. And I owned a little piece of it. So I can't quit that to go on the road to be a manager, for $200 a week. So I basically laid out, where I was at, what my goals were, blah, blah, blah. And at the end of it, he said, kid, I see some Captain Lou in you. I see a little Jesse Ventura in you. And I even see a little bit of me in you. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to make you the Jesse Ventura of the 90s. And I was like, Jesse Ventura.
So you're 9 days in the business.
9 days. 9 days.
Oh, my goodness.
And I said, Dusty, I never say the words I can't. I said, but I got to say, I don't know a wrist lock from a wristwatch. And I said that line. And he said, don't worry about it, kid. Gordon Soley will walk you through it all. And I learned so much from Soli. And I was up there every Tuesday to film TV. And every Thursday, I would come up because I wanted to, when I wrestled, it was a couple of times I told you, I didn't learn nothing. I didn't even learn how to take a bump, you know? So I wanted to know what these bumps felt like, whether it was a slam or whatever for the color. So I had at least something that I had knowledge of. And what was cool is after about an hour of that shit, when I was like, oh, I'm done. I grew up and I'd hang with Dream. And he would put me in production meetings. He would ask my opinion of shit. Like he got off on my energy, man. And that's the only
He was
reason.
also developing you.
Yes.
And teaching you and mentoring you. You
Yes.
just didn't know it at the
Right,
time.
exactly. I was just so shocked that I got a guy who, you know, was a god at that moment still, just coming off of goddom. And, you know, just to be with him and spend time, quality time. And then I was engaged 3 times before I ever got married. My second engagement, she broke up with me, and I was pretty bummed out about it. And him and Michelle drove to, which is, you know, Lee County Civic Center was probably 120 miles from their house, and met me at the thing. I brought a couple of my boys to go see Willie. And there's Dusty up there singing with Willie. He was supposed to go up for one song. He stayed for the whole rest of the show up there, singing back up with Willie. And he just did some really cool things. And I had his personal number. And now he's wasn't living in Tampa anymore. I can't remember where they moved to, but I could call, you know. And again, who's willing to say they know you? Cody's mom, Michelle. Like, I thanked her in my Hall of Fame speech because she would say, well, Dusty's on the road, but don't worry, Dallas. He'll call you.
She's a sweetheart.
The best.
She's
the best.
such a sweetheart.
He's a board mentor. Dusty, you bring people on board in their
Yep.
lives and watch them develop.
Oh,
He had that gift.
We were talking about that before you got here.
And as you were talking full circle about what Dallas, what was the driving force, you have a relentless pursuit of things. I believe a God-given gift. He's relentless. With
I know.
With whatever he does, you're all in. You're in a relentless pursuit with your projects, with people, and it's a special deal.
You know, it's only because I believe. And the biggest thing that I
Well, if you don't believe, who's going to believe in you? I know
No.
Eric, I heard him talk about guys who become big stars. Well, this guy may not have been the best interviewer or the best guy in the ring, but this particular guy really thought he was the you-know-what. And like the people started believing he was. There's so many talented guys that try out for wrestling, have a great body, a great look. So this guy's just made, but if they don't have a real desire to really pursue it relentlessly, but also really believe in themselves, the wrestling fans are very intuitive, I think.
Boy.
And they sense a guy who maybe not the best talker, the best worker, but there's something about this guy. He
It's a
really thinks
connection.
he's
Yeah.
special. And the fans will buy into it.
right.
All right, folks, over here. Listen up. Gather around. Come on, a little closer. Because Uncle Eric's got a story that'll make your nose hair stand up straighter than a caffeinated porcupine. You ever have one of those days where you're walking around feeling like $1,000,000 and then bam, you catch a whiff of yourself and realize that your balls are throwing a stink party nobody RSVP'd to? True story. I was at a wrestling reunion last month, sweating like a hog in a sauna, when I realized my grundle was singing a tune that'll make a skunk blush. Thank heavens for Mando. That's a Mando, because that little miracle saved my dignity faster than you can say NWO for life. Now, let me tell you, I've been slathering this Mando goodness all over my pits, balls, even the old thigh folds. And it's like a VIP bouncer for BO, man. Just keeps the riffraff out for up to 72 hours. Now, Dr. Shannon Klingman, she's the one that invented this product. Bless her genius soul. She cooked this up after seeing too many folks getting misdiagnosed for stink they didn't even deserve. That's horrible. Stink you don't even deserve. She's out here with her lab coat and her mandelic acid saying, nope, we're stopping odor before it even RSVPs. And what do I love most? It's clinically proven to whip a shower's ass 12 hours after scrubbing down. Your average dude's grundle is like a 5 out of 10 on the funk scale. Mando, 0, zilch, nada. I'm smelling like bourbon, leather, and confidence, baby. Okay, now here's the kicker. It's safe anywhere you got skin. I'm talking belly buttons, butt cracks, feet, you name it. I've Mandoed it. At first I thought, spray deodorant, solid stick. It sounds like a science project, but now I am a believer. Unexpected bonus, my wife stopped giving me that you smell like a locker room side-eye. Big win in my book. So here's the deal, you sweaty savages. Get yourself Mando's starter pack. It's got a solid stick, cream tube, free mini body wash, deodorant wipes, and free shipping. And it's because I'm your pal. Newbies get $5 off. That's it. Over 40% off with code 83weeks at shopmando.com. That's shopmando.com. Smell fresher, stay drier, and strut your stuff like a champ. One more time, folks. Shopmando.com, code 83weeks. Tell them Eric sent you, and let's keep the stink out of your ring.
I heard you talk about that one time. What separates the stars from like the ones who aren't? They have like a gift of they really believe in themselves, and that comes across on television.
And the difference between
it's authentic because they really do believe.
That's the word right there.
Yeah,
the difference between someone who's confident, successful in other parts of their lives, transitioning to become a character. Most of them, 95, 98% of them, are great athletes, probably great people, have a lot of other good things going on, but they're pretending they're a wrestler. They're doing what they believe a wrestling character should do. The other 2% are the people that figure out how to create, how to present charisma, how to be authentic, how to get somebody to believe in your character. And that has nothing to do with Hurricane Radas or, jumping off the top of cages. That has everything to do with what's in here. And that's the one thing about wrestling fans. And it's really fun for me.
They have a real sense for it.
They're a lot more discriminating than people think. They have a much more sensitive bullshit meter than your average fan of just about anything else. And it's tough. You've got to be out there. They've got to accept you over a period of years, sometimes decades.
Sure.
Before you listen to Stone Cold Steve Austin tell his story. I did his podcast several years ago. And you listen to how he came. He didn't really make it till he'd been in the business for 10 or 12 years.
Right.
In the beginning, he's sleeping in the back of his car, going through all the tough things that a lot of you guys did. People think, he became an overnight sensation. He developed that character and, more importantly, the connection to the audience over a period of time so that when he did finally find that character, Stone Cold Steve Austin, which is really just an extension of Steve Williams.
Amped up.
With the volume turned up a little bit.
If it's not authentic, if it's not in them, even though we might amp it up for TV, it doesn't come across as authentic with the fans.
No.
There's got to be some of that guy in that character.
And it's fun to watch now, mainstream media, mainstream entertainment, big stream entertainment, start recognizing wrestling talent for the true gifts that they develop throughout their career. And I know you've dabbled in it. I shouldn't say dabble's the wrong word. You've experienced it. I've experienced a little bit of it. You come onto a set, the expectations are somewhere down here near the floor. They don't think you've got anything in the way of chops for acting. Right. And then you do a walkthrough, and all of a sudden you notice people going, "Who's that guy?" Because you've been doing it. Yeah. You don't need hours of the script.
Like your first take with Dusty, go ahead and talk, kid, and you nailed it.
Yeah.
Perfect example.
What's your first memory of Dusty?
I met him really first time when I did the 605 show, like my debut, and Rick had scouted me out down there, He wrestled me a couple times.
Did you work Florida before
I
that?
was working in Florida.
But Dusty wasn't there.
No.
He was here.
And Rick came down and wrestled me a couple times. He come out and wrestle a bunch of guys, but Rick came back and thought, you need to take a look at this guy. And they brought me to the 605 show and that Saturday night show. And Dusty sent me out on TV for the first time. And in the back, Rick was standing there, Dusty, and Brad Armstrong was off to the side. And I wasn't wrestling bad, but I was with an enhancement talent guy, a good one.
Right.
And a good George South, somebody like that.
Right.
And they went over the little TV match, like we call a squash match for 3 minutes. But Dusty said, and I was going to do something at the desk real quick for them. He said, I'm looking at you as the brains, the brawn, the look. I want you to be extremely confident out there. He goes, what's your finish? And I was naming some things. And they said, Dusty, while they're in with Rick in the back, came up with the torture rack, which became my finish throughout my career.
So that was Dusty that came up with the torture rack.
Off the cuff in the back. He goes, what else you say? How about a backbreaker? You look at Rick, and they had Brad who can go up easy.
Sure.
Show him how to do it. I picked Brad up, and they said, that shows his body. And let's go with it. You're going to use that for your finish in this match. Okay. And they go power slam, pick him up in the rack. Became my signature finish. And you go to the desk, I want you to be the brains, the brawn, and the look, just everything.
How long had you been working at that point?
Less than a year. And,
You had a little more experience than he
Flair came down to
did.
Florida and cut a promo on the guys in the back in Florida because he called a sunset flip in an hour. Flair took me through an hour match. I didn't know what a sunset flip was.
No, back that up again. I got to hear that again.
Flair he took me through an hour match, 60 minutes.
Flair,
a lot of bear
with
hugs.
less than a
lot
year of
bear hugs.
experience or a year of experience.
Yeah, and Flair got me through an hour match.
Crazy.
Hour Broadway.
That's how great
He called a sunset
Do
flip
anything.
at one point. I was on the apron, pulling myself up, and he got up the ropes. He goes, shoulder to my sunset flip. And I go, what's that? Ric Flair goes, oh
And
my.
Rick's the one. He's the one that put
Rick's
you
in the
over.
ring. Yeah, Rick's in the ring. Goes, oh my God! Like, what am I in here with? He called a small package. I go, what's that? I learned the basics, clotheslines, and how to take bumps, but that's all I do. Rick got me there, but Rick went back there and Rick saw something in me, mentioned me to Crockett and Dusty. But Dusty, in a matter of minutes, my finish ended up using my whole career, how creative he was. And he also gave me and when he's talking about the brains and the brawn and the looks, he said, I want you to be like the total package.
Yeah.
So in a matter of
Right.
a couple minutes, he came with my finish that was in my whole career and my nickname.
He was an amazing. He was
How's
an
that for
amazing guy.
creative?
Just natural.
Like size somebody up, I want you to be the brains and brawn and the look. I want you to know that that's what you are. And when you talk, I want you to be the total package, baby. So all an impromptu in the back.
Yeah.
Crazy.
You first break into the business.
It's because in the mentoring, right? And
Yeah.
and now you're doing that for others. That's your special gift. You so many people helped you along the way. Now you want to help others, right?
That's what I think Jake said to me. I said, dude, how do I pay you back? This is before any, as early on as possible. He goes, just share it.
Mhm.
That's all he said. Just share it with somebody else.
Absolutely.
I remember because there was a lot going on at the time, but you and I started talking about one of those Saturday afternoon drives around in your Mercedes 450 SL, which I love that car.
It was a great car.
Convertible.
Classic.
He'd come over on a Saturday morning, about 11 o'clock in the morning after I'd spent time with the kids and everything. So let's go for a ride. Once in a while, there'd be a couple beers in the car, and we'd be driving around Atlanta, springtime with the top down, and go find a
Great time
Mexican
of year,
restaurant
right?
somewhere.
Also, that place had great burritos.
Oh, it was awesome.
They were amazing.
Yeah, we were there.
And he can't be too hot for him, too.
Yeah, I love this spicy.
Oh wow.
And we'd
Still?
go in there. We're the only ones
Still?
in there that spoke English. It was
Yeah, right.
awesome. It was the best food ever.
Yeah.
But on one of those rides, we were talking around. We were driving around talking, and I don't know how it came up, but the idea was I wanted to put together a bunch of really young wrestlers. Like I'm thinking legal age 18 to 22 was the demo I was looking for. And I thought, let's put these guys in a bus and do basically a reality show just following these kids around, trying to learn how to become big stars. It was like the minor leagues of wrestling is what I was shooting for. But guys living together in a bus and travel around, and we would promote the towns. They'd be in like VFW venues and, put 25, 30 people in a building. That was the idea, real gritty, low budget kind of stuff. So you went on, I sent you out because I didn't know any of the people out there. I said, let's go find some people, find some guys you think are good. In comes Chris Canyon. In comes Billy Kidman.
Wait, let me tell the Billy Kidman story. We've already got a bunch of people's jobs at this point, right? And I said, Kenyon, I can't bring any more people right now because he's got a lot on his plate. And he goes, just look at the finish. Just look at this finish. And he takes the VHS tape, he props it in. He does that shooting star thing he did. I grab the tape. I walk over the hill, bring in Lori. Hey, Lori, go in. He's watching TV. I sit down. He's watching TV. I wait till, because I know he's paying attention. So I just don't say shit till the commercial. He goes, what's up? I said, you want to see a great finish? He goes, absolutely. I pop the tape in. He goes, wow. He goes, what's he doing? I said, looking for a job. He said, $400 a week, developmental deal. Tell him to be down here next week. That's how it happened, Kidman's great.
There you go.
And there were Shane
Helms,
Helms. There had to be a dozen of them that we ultimately brought in.
Jimmy Yang.
But out of those dozen people that he brought in and helped, several of them still have careers to this day.
Yeah.
And by the way, good careers.
Oh yeah.
And they're not taking bumps. They're working behind the scenes. They're producing, and they're probably very successful.
Kidman's in the gorilla spot.
Kidman is there. It's funny. Every time I've been in WWE, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at Billy Kidman, in the gorilla position as a producer, and I'm thinking to myself, wow, this is just such a fascinating thing to see how far some people have come. But that's all the giving nature, going back to your instincts and really who you are as a person.
Gift of service, we call it in the faith-based world.
He's serving now in here and outside, actually inspiring people. But that's just always been your driver. You've never been a selfish person. You've wanted
God-given gift, my brother.
He's wanted his own success, obviously, and relentless, to your point, Lex, in terms of what he's got to do to get it despite the odds. And
a connector. He likes to connect people.
Yep.
If you call him about something, I know this guy, and he connects you with him.
Yeah.
He's a connector.
But it's always
I call you the connector. It's one of my many nicknames. So all good now.
Yeah. How about what you couldn't talk the other day with the voice?
Oh my gosh, I lost my voice with all the interviews, podcasts, and things for congratulatory stuff. I lost my voice, and he's giving me all these exercises to do for my voice. And I know he's working on my walking and stuff and my standing, but he's giving me all these tips on how to get my voice back. And I'm like, even his training tips.
How do you know that?
How do you know training tips? My ex-wife was a speech pathologist. I go, where do you get all this stuff to get my voice back? I mean, you've been to a speech therapist? He goes, yeah, I have.
Okay, because I couldn't speak because I didn't
know how to exercise your voice cords. CDPY yoga does it all.
Oh, God.
Crazy.
Like, so I don't want to, first of all, I want to check the time here because I was hoping to keep this under 3 hours. How are we doing on time? Just out of curiosity. What are we at? We're only in an hour and a half. We're doing good. We got some time. I want to go back to your faith a little bit because, to be honest with you, and I said this in the beginning, and I think I've mentioned it to you before, not to go back in time too far, but I had an opinion, a perception, better. I had a perception that created an opinion about you and who you were and all that. And when you found Christ, and I first started hearing about that, I was skeptical. Cynical, and I'm kind of cynical by nature to begin with. I guess if you spend 30 years in the wrestling business, it'll turn you.
Everyone's like Lex. Lex is like a religious guy, or Lex got saved. You gotta be kidding me.
And I was again cynical. I won't go into detail, but I said, I'm going to pay attention. I'm going to watch this guy. And at that time, I wrestled with my faith, so to speak, in finding it since I was 15 years old. And it would be on again, off again.
Yeah.
Sometimes I feel like I was getting closer, and then I would allow the static in my life, as I refer to bad habits and things, focus. And I get farther and farther away, and I drift back every once in a while. So that's been my relationship with Christ since I was about 14 or 15. So when I started hearing you talk about it, cynical as I was, something made me pay attention.
Yeah.
Despite a natural resistance because of a perception.
Well, we're all born with resistance to it. We want to be in charge and not acknowledge our creator. We want to take credit for what we accomplished, but it all comes.
I had a lot of that going on.
Mine was, a guy asked me, like, so what kept you from the foot of the cross? Ignorance about Christ or arrogance? I go, I had a double dose of both.
You say that. Yeah.
But when I started watching you, and more importantly, listening to you, and over a period of, I don't know, a year or so, I started going, oh, this is real. This is not somebody who's seeking attention by professing something that's maybe kind of half true, maybe not. This is somebody who really believes.
Supernatural, and it's experiential. You can talk about it all you want to people, but unless you have to experience it to say, wow. This whole thing about the Holy Spirit coming in you,
it's real,
transforming your heart from heart of stone to a heart of flesh, and changing you completely. It's a real experience. You can only experience it to describe it. For me,
yeah, 100% believe that to be true. I'm just going to get right to it. What was the moment do you feel where you finally connected with Christ? Like I don't know, it could have happened over days or weeks or months, but there had to be a moment when you went, this is going to be the rest of my life. This is something I believe in so much, and it's going to change me. When was that moment for you?
My life had become so dark. I was so depressed that I always thought I could figure things out. So when people talk about you're at the end of your rope, or I saw no way out, I thought my life was over. The rest would never have anything to do with me. I was toxic. I was staying in an extended stay hotel with my stuff in storage that I accumulated through all my so-called success. And I was working the dog pound. I'm a judge for my 17 felony counts. I got convicted on 5, and I was in and out of jail. I was just staying in extended stay doing community service work at the dog pound, cleaning out dog and cat cages. And I was so depressed, still drinking, still doing drugs. I was at such a low, but I didn't care if I woke up the next morning. I wasn't trying to kill myself, or anything, or
zero hope.
I'd given up hope. I figured out I can't fix this. I always thought I could fix everything. So God allowed me, and for me, that was the greatest thing that ever could have happened to me, because I always thought I could figure it out and pull myself out of it, and I saw no way out. So when I met the jail chaplain who ended up introducing me to Christ in jail, I completely rejected him. He handed me a Bible the first time. I threw it on the floor. I was an atheist, agnostic, had a really low point in my life, but he wouldn't give up on me. God placed him in my life. He's Steve, the guy who married me the other day.
Right.
He was there for my salvation in that hotel room on April 23rd of 06. I gave my life to Christ. Even at the last moment before I asked Christ to come in my life and take over. Like there's a song called Jesus Take the Wheel. It was hard for me, my arrogance and my pride. I always wanted to make decisions and be in charge of my life. And it's scary to think, well, because we walk by faith, not by sight. I was really, I couldn't pick it up. I want to see him I want a voice to talk to me. I wanted proof that there really was a God. And you got to come by faith. And that was really difficult for me to get my arms around. I still didn't quite understand it, but Pastor Steve gave the most beautiful presentation of the gospel. They call it the Romans Road. And when he got to the end, Romans 10, 9, 13, and confessed that Jesus Christ is the Son of God. And I hear me read out loud. I started crying.
Really?
No, I'm not a crier. Yeah, in the hotel room. And in the last minute, Satan came at me one more time and said, it's too late for you. And I said to Steve, I said, well, I want to get down, pray, and ask Jesus to be Lord of your life and dedicate your life to him. I said, man, Steve, it's too late for me, man. I've done too much bad stuff. I've hurt too many people, too much collateral damage.
Yeah.
And Steve just looked at me and goes, it's never too late for him. He goes, he meets you right in the muck and mire of where you're at. He goes, the difference between Christ as a born-again believer and all other religions in the world is that they're all trying to climb or work their way to heaven or do good stuff. Christ has already accomplished what you need right at the cross for you because he loves you. He wants to offer that free gift. He meets you right where you're at, right now, right here in this hotel room. Just got to ask him to come in. But he knocks on the door. On the outside, the door handle on his hand says, you got to let him in. I understood that. So I go out by faith. I'm going to, okay, what we got to do? He goes, get down here now.
It's funny. I mean, he's good. Obviously, Pastor Steve is really good at what he does because he knew exactly how to frame that for you and where you were.
Yeah, he said, I go, well, what I got to do then? He goes, you got to get down and ask Jesus to come into your heart. He goes, the door handle's on the inside legs. God doesn't kick his way and kick the door down. He goes, he even taught me how to preach the gospel to people, even in another language. He had me to do God on one shore, you on the other shore. And there's a big river, a chasm between us. And what's the gospel of Jesus Christ? You put arrows like works and good deeds and all this different stuff you can do, trying to get to the other side, but the arrows never quite reach. So they're nodding, and then you do this, you do that, and then you draw a bridge between two sides, and you write Jesus across the bridge. Even if they don't stand next to you. It's the most simple, right? Clear picture of what Jesus has done for us at the cross. That's the only connection for us because God can't be, you have to go through the Son to get to the Father.
Were you scared at all? Like once you got down on your knees?
It's giving up control, right?
That's what I wanted to get to.
I'm a control
We're
freak.
all used to having control.
I want to be in charge.
Our lives.
Our pride is we want to be in charge. We're like never surrender. That I'm surrendering my life over to someone, something else. And that's scary, man.
That's the faith part, right?
Yeah.
And if you've never had it,
yeah.
Talk about working without a net.
But I actually felt a physical, like I was almost getting power washed inside when I said that prayer to ask him to come out. I felt like I was getting. People at the gym thought, there's only Pastor Steve afterwards, saw the media transformation. I wasn't cussing anymore. We're from New York, New Jersey. I wasn't cussing. I didn't realize it. People thought people on the gym saw me with a pastor working out. They thought I was on some kind of new drug. You were. Well, yeah.
Yeah. Good point.
One. Yeah. So
and you haven't looked back.
He transformed my life over time. Completely whole new set of friends and brought back into my life the people who really matter to me from wrestling, or else brought them around to maybe consider being my friend. It's amazing. I told the story about the fans, how special wrestling. Yeah. I was a guy who wrestled because I made money at it. I wasn't a wrestling fan growing up, so I was like, these fans are crazy. I was trying to avoid the fans almost. Go in the back door of the hotels and stuff to avoid them. And when Steve, I told you, Pastor Steve took me to that Walmart. You've heard that story. Sure. And tried to get me going Walmart. I wouldn't go in. I thought the old Lexa, that's where poor people shop. I've never been in a Walmart. He kept on stopping in a Walmart after our workouts at the gym and tried to get me to go in. I wouldn't go in. And I was such a snob. And unsafe snob. I love Walmart now. But yeah, he tried to get me to finally went in. The fans made the biggest deal on me when I walked in there. Because I'd given up hope that ever had anything to do with wrestling again. That was the first time where I saw hope for me to maybe my life isn't completely over and my life, the fans, I got so glad. They just loved on me in that Walmart store.
It's funny you bring up hope because I think that's one of the things that
wrestling fans are special, man. You know that. They're different kind of breed, man.
Yeah. It's easy to lose hope in any walk of life. If you're working in an office, if you work for a big corporation, if you're working in the the post office, hope is something that's very easy to lose, and you don't realize how devastating that is for you. And I think that's one of the cool things about you from a Christian point of view, and having been saved and living the life you lived before you were saved, and where you're at now. Hope was the difference. In your case, Christ provided that. In your case, you're providing hope to people who have also given up on it. And I don't know. I mean, I know Butterbean. I've worked with him before.
A direct correlation there for sure.
But there's a definite connection, and hope is at the center of it.
All right, folks, I'm going to get back to Lex and Paige in just a minute, but I'm kind of fired up today because I got to tell you about something that's kind of changed the game for me. Tushy. That's right. Tushy. Now picture this. It's March Madness. I'm yelling at the TV. Basketball's blaring. And I'm recovering from a little, I don't know, elective procedure downstairs, if you catch my drift. Now, comfort's key, right? That's where Tushy comes in. And let me tell you, this bidet has been a total lifesaver. I'm kidding you. I got one from the folks at Tushy. Now listen to this. I hooked it up myself in about 10 minutes. Yes, Easy E, hooking up a bidet all by myself. Now, typically, Mrs. B doesn't allow me to touch any tools other than a hammer, but I was able to pull this one off. Almost as easy as cutting a promo. And now my bathroom's a whole new level of awesome. First of all, the cleaning experience, right? Night and day compared to toilet paper. Now we're getting a little graphic here, but let's be real. We're talking about fresh water blasting away 99% of the bacteria. Leaves me feeling pristine. Not even scratched up with some 2-ply cardboard-like sandpaper they call toilet paper. Second, it's hands-free, baby. Sit, cleanse, and that built-in air dryer takes care of the rest. No more fumbling around. And third, I'm using way less toilet paper. Up to 80% less. No clogs, no wasting cash on something that doesn't even do the job, right? Plus, it looks sleek. And my vibe in here is like, man, it's custom made. So whether you're nursing a vasectomy or just want to upgrade your throne, trust me on this one. Reclaim your comfort zone in a bathroom. For a limited time, my listeners get 10% off their bidet order when you use code 83weeks at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with promo code 83weeks. Get on it, folks. Your ass deserves the main event treatment.
I know I asked you what was, the most impactful kind of transition that you've helped guide and create. But give me an example of someone other than, well, not Lex, because Lex had a lot of hope by the time you guys started working out together again and found it through Christ. But give me an example of somebody that came to you that really had given up on themselves and looked at this as a last resort.
I told Dallas, I go, he's got such a following. Where I do appearances now, I get all kind of people that he's affected in a profound way through his training and online, through the streaming and all that. I mean, that's probably a really tough question.
It really is, because there's so it's shocking to me how many people get sober through doing the program and being around the people that still may drink, but they know that the alcohol and drugs not working for them. Like we've done Positively Unstoppable challenges where we literally find champions. And the people, they've got to document their process because they're putting the work in. You can see it. And when people can see it, and then it gets emotional, which is what our guys do when they're telling the story, it moves people to action. And so many people that come pretty much have given up, hope. Like that's the biggest thing. Like, there's how many online, but between Facebook and Instagram and TikTok, how many trainers are out there selling that? I'll bet you there's 100,000 trainers.
Yeah, somewhere I read it was like a $41 billion
different nutrition programs. We talk about the
everything,
diet, everything. Yeah,
there's
so much out there.
That we've let. It took 8 years to be an overnight success. Just like it did.
I used to make fun of him when you brought the yoga mat in locker. Remember? Look at Dallas over there stretching. He looks like Gumby over there on the mat. I used to mock him, and he thought, "Boy, you got the last laugh on me." Oh my gosh!
Yeah, but there's just so many people that if you just go to, probably this girl Candy, she was one of our champions, and if you watch Candy's video.
Now, describe what a champion is to people that may not be familiar.
They're people who put the work in. Like people would never believe that they could get my time. Like a wrestling fan would never believe if they put the work in. And I see them helping other people. So when I say champions, we did this. Now we have this thing called, because I didn't want to pick any more champions. I want everybody to be champions because it was so hard, because it went from supposed to be 3, I picked 6, then I picked 8, then I picked 12, I picked a dime dozen 13. Now I fly all those people in. They get a cash prize, and there's one person who has a chance to win $250,000. They're 25,000 minimum, but one of the books got $250,000 in them. And do the same thing like the golf tournament. We got the insurance and shit. So we did.
You didn't have to tell everybody that. You could have just told them you're putting up your own money.
Yeah, but hey, it's still $100,000. It's still $100,000 between everything, and you might not get anybody, but you might get some really amazing stories. And we've got, there's just one girl. Now I'll come back to Candy, but Stephanie Kelly.
I thought Arthur, he was the big.
But he was someone that was like.
Now, Arthur was one of your first success stories.
He was the
guy
first
that came
one.
in.
Shark Tank.
Shark Tank, the whole deal. Back then, there was no app, where the app has everything, from over 500 workouts. Plus there's 40 or 50 Power Cup workouts on there, but we don't just show you how to eat. We prepare it for you. We've got 3 different 90-day eating plans that are at different levels and more inspirational and stuff that'll flick a spark to get you. And then we have a community like no one has. And Steve's brilliant idea this year is Transformation University. Like we have we had around 3,000 people sign up in the beginning. Now, over this term of this class period you're going through, there's lectures, there's how to do everything. And I'll come on once a month and do something as well. But I bring in people like Candy and Stephanie and John and Scotty and different guys in to talk about the guys who continued with it. Because, a lot of people, they do lose weight and they get in great shape and then
they go back and get fat again.
Exactly. Because they didn't do the whole thing. The first thing that you have to do on the app is called the list. And the list, number 1, is what's your why? Like, why are you here? Don't just tell me, write it down and video it. So you're going to want to remember it later. And then it's my SmackDown.
That's accountability in a way too.
100%. And now, number 2, I believe, is SmackDown, which is as an acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, compatible. Keep it going, do it, own it, write it down now. How do you set goals? How do you keep up on it? And then there's videos that'll inspire you. And then I'm going to take you to food, because for the first time ever, we have someone in Robert Kennedy Jr., and whether you think he's crazy or not, one thing he is absolutely true about is the food.
Yeah.
You can't prove the vaccine, even though I didn't take a jab and I would never do it. But, I'm not going to get on the bandwagon for the vaccine, because there are some good vaccines back before they were trying to kill us. So
thanks for throwing that in. I appreciate it, though.
Yeah, you know what I mean? The bottom line is the food. He has made more people aware. And if you go on, there's the food babe. I don't know.
I've seen her.
She's great. She just did a run on Kellogg's, and they had easily 1,000, 2,000 people with them, but she had 400,000 names that a petition for Kellogg's to at least give us the food that you give Canada.
Yeah.
Because the shit that they put in our food, it gets me jacked up, but that's so bad for us and addictive and all the shit that fucks you up. And why do we have so much cancer? I mean, why do we have so much autism? Diabetes, heart disease, everything. So obviously I'm pretty passionate about it. But Robert Kennedy, he is doing something. He's making people aware. We'll see what he can really get done.
But it's not to interrupt you, Paige, because you're on a roll. But I agree with 100% with everything you're saying. And I think what I at least interpret from my perspective is that he's not trying to force anybody to change what they eat.
No,
he is trying to make you 100% aware, or at least give you the opportunity to be aware of what you're eating.
Once again,
while they're
once
taking
again, it comes
out
across
some of
as
the toxins.
right. Once again, he comes across as authentically caring about it, being passionate about it. He's
Yeah.
authentic about it.
And
Whether you agree with him or not, he comes across as authentic about people being healthier.
I just had, and I just had one of my buddies. I've got hundreds of instructors who do DDP yoga, right? And transformation coaches, that are helping everybody. And, they get paid, but little, it's nothing, but they want to help people.
Right.
After they want to help people. So out of my 5 who are.
Well, that's part of the payback. It's not always monetary in life.
No, 100%.
When something happens to us that changes our life, I know he does. He wants us to share it. I want to share about how God changed my life with people because I'm thankful. I'm grateful. You're changing people's lives. They're grateful. They want to share it with others. And that makes your whole company go viral.
And of the 5, I have 5 master instructors that can teach everything, know everything inside out. 2 of them are doctors. And one is an MD from Canada. And his name is Dr. Marcel Doré. When he teaches his classes, on Tuesday and Thursday, he has 70 to 100 people on a football field. And they're all like older people, 50 and up, that are doing the workouts with him. But I had him send me a Fruit Loops from Canada. And when you put the Fruit Loops from Canada next to the one that they make here, the poisons that are in that food. But Canada's like, we're not taking this shit.
Same in Europe, same thing.
Same thing. So those companies, the Coca-Colas, all of them, I call them all out, man. Give us the same shit. At least you give them.
Well, they're U.S. companies specifically, and I'm not an expert, and I want to make that clear. I'm not trying to sound like one, but I'm in this rabbit hole, both Lori and I together. She's been studying nutrition for over 30 years. Different courses and accreditation and all that. I'm just, a consumer, but we're both down this rabbit hole. And a lot of, you look, for example, at what happened to the tobacco industry when the lawsuits came down and they had to spend all the money that they spent because of tobacco advertising and how they got people hooked. Guess what they did next? They went out and bought food companies because they knew they had engineered addiction into cigarettes, which are addictive anyway because of nicotine, obviously, but they found a way to enhance it and make it even more addictive. Well, since they couldn't do that with tobacco anymore, what's the next best thing? Oh, everybody eats every day. Let's go get that. And a lot of the additives that are in that food, the dyes, for example, in Fruit Loops, well, that's a visual thing. It's not, it doesn't affect the flavor. It doesn't affect the texture. It's not the bite thing. It's just color, and it's toxic. And when the tobacco companies got a hold of the food companies and all of their addiction engineering came with it, and here we are today. It's why people, and I'm sure you run across this every day, you may have experienced it, but it's hard for people to give up certain things. My wife, Lori, talks about it because she coaches people, and she's been very, very successful with it and helped a lot of people in a similar way that you do. But people will say, well, I can't give up my potatoes, like my potatoes. I can't give up. I've had this conversation with people.
Lifelong habits, right?
I'm not going to give up my beer.
Likes, dislikes.
Like I want to, somebody will look at me.
That would have been you years ago.
It would have been me 2 years ago.
Right.
It was like, it's a possession.
Right.
Like giving up a food that you like, or ice cream, or beer. It becomes your beer and your ice cream. You're not taking my ice cream away from me. It's a weird relationship that people have with food.
Yeah.
And I kind of crossed the threshold when I realized, and I've always liked to eat. I love it and still do love to eat. I'm on a strict carnivore diet. I say strict, I'm going to qualify that. About 98% of my calories come from protein. 2% of it will come from
They were talking about
cheese.
that. I love protein.
A glass of milk or something like that. But once you start, for me, I should say for me, once I looked at food as a nutritional source and not as a reward or something I deserved because I don't know, I had a good day at the office. I deserve a pizza and a 6-pack of beer or ice cream, whatever. You end up with that relationship, and it starts with being a child. you get rewarded with sweet things. So your brain wires itself to believe you deserve these things. And somebody like DDP coming along and saying, "No, we're going to cut that out." It's like reaching in my wallet, taking my money. Wait a minute.
Let me
What's the old saying? Eat to live, don't live to eat.
Yeah.
Wherever you want, you choose wisely what you eat.
That's where, remember you said the other day, yesterday, is tell me why. Like, what's the reasoning? So when you get to the list, the last part you're going to go over is the food. And the food, it ain't me, right, doing this documentary. We do documentaries, but not like this. Food Inc. won the Oscar, I believe, in 2007. And what Monsanto, which Bayer just bought them and, was still making money off of whatever. I don't know enough about that, but I know.
And by the way, I don't mean to interrupt you because I don't want you to lose your train of thought, but do yourself a favor and, I don't know, read about the history of Bayer, the company in Germany. Just educate yourself. You'll be amazed.
Yeah. So the next one is Food Inc. And the Food Inc. What is it called? Genetic roulette. What they did to what they've done to our food. And it's all about money. Just follow the money. And the last one is GMO. OMG. Like, educate, like, when people do that, because I work with so many people, just because I got the program, just because I know they've done the list and they come through some connection somewhere. And I know them. Do the list and get back to me. So now when we talk about the list, if you don't do the list and I ask you questions, what happens if most people don't do the list?
You're ahead of curve on that. You don't remember this. You walked in my apartment like 10 years ago when I was back in Atlanta the first time. And you open my fridge, you open the freezer, and I had a big treat day back then. You open my fridge, saw all this ice cream. You go, bro, what's with all this SHIT in here? I was offended. I go, well, I have a treat day. Bro, get rid of that stuff. All that stuff. Do you remember that? He was, like you said, it was my stuff. That's why.
You felt it was like a possession.
Yeah, I felt violated. They looked at my food and was like telling me to get rid of all that stuff. We get into habits, right?
But it's tough. People do not realize how physically, mentally addictive food is engineered.
Like, love ice cream. I can't give up ice cream. Get rid of that dairy. I'm like,
let me give you the best example. When Jake came in, he didn't have a choice. I bought all the food. He thought it tastes delicious. They watched the movies, so they knew. Scott was like, man, you ruined me. Now I've watched these movies. Now I know. But they're feeling better because I've taken the shit out of their diet.
Right.
And put real food there. Like a celiac could come to my house and be okay. And we're not celiacs. We err on the side of gluten-free, free just because my joints, and now it's like anything. We could drink like crazy suckers back when we had all the the enzymes and hormones just used. We had that. And at some point, as you go on, you want to know why you feel like shit? Stop eating the nightshades. Well, what's nightshades? And I would go back and forth to Doc Ken West, and I would lie to him. Like, no, I didn't. He goes, yes, you did. And he could do muscle testing. And today, I would never go to a regular doctor before I went to him and go, okay, what's happening here? And as long as I eat clean, I feel really good. Yep. And to me, nothing tastes better than feeling really good.
Right.
Especially at 69.
I thought you were 72.
Yeah.
That's a running joke. It's been going on for 40 years, but he doesn't sell it anymore, so it's not nearly as much fun. Lex, this is even a hard question to ask, and if it comes off wrong, I apologize. I've only got one gear. Do you think what happened in San Francisco, do you think that led you to being a better person? I know the answer to that question already, but in a weird way, do you think this is part of your plan?
Absolutely. Nothing happens without God allowing in our lives. God will take our adversity, our biggest tests and turn them into positives, give me a different outlook on life and my trust with him, bring me through it. And when God brings us through the other side, I've met lifelong friends who shepherd that I visit, and people, he wants us to be, there's a Bible verse that talks about how, Corinthians, it talks about God, the great comforter in our time of need. He comforted me through mine, and in turn, we're to comfort others. So once again, helping others reach out, it makes you, I think, have more empathy and makes you a different person. So our greatest challenge is what looks like greatest tragedies can be turned into, when we let him work through us on that, our greatest triumphs, I believe, for sure.
This is what I was really trying to ask.
I've lost 100 pounds of muscle, but from my injury, I'll never get back. I spent my whole life building that up, and in a matter of months, it was all gone. But he showed me that our true strength is our inner strength. It comes from inside out, not from the outside in. So he kind of let me get rid of that muscle suit so I could be more valuable, I think, human being to try my outlook on others and help other people.
And inspire others.
Right.
Like
exactly.
me, by the way.
Exactly.
Just for the record. This is what I was really trying to ask when I just asked the previous question.
There's a verse that says, my strength works best in your weakness.
Are you grateful for what happened to you in San Francisco?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Love that.
That's why I say he's the best human being I know.
Listen, if you enjoy this show, I know that you love nostalgia. And when I think about nostalgia for my life, yes, I think about wrestling. I think about Saturday morning cartoons, and I think about a big bowl of cereal. Well, there's now a nostalgically delicious cereal that tastes just like your childhood favorites, but without all the sugar. You know, when we get older, we realize what we really need in the morning is protein. Well, every serving of Magic Spoon cereal has 13 grams of protein, 0 grams of sugar, and 4 grams of net carbs, so you can feel good about what you're eating. The most popular flavors are fruity and cocoa, but there's so many more. And now Magic Spoon's brand new treats are crispy, they're crunchy, they're airy, and it's an easy way to get 12 grams of protein, but on the go. And for the first time ever, now Magic Spoon treats are available in grocery stores and in delicious flavors like marshmallow and chocolatey peanut butter. My personal favorite is double chocolate. What are you waiting for? Go get $5 off your next order right now at magicspoon.com/83weeks, or look for Magic Spoon on Amazon or in your nearest grocery store. That's magicspoon.com/83weeks. 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 You'll get $5 off Magic Spoon.
All right, let's take a couple questions. Super Dave, I'm sure we do. We've been at this now for almost 2 hours. Let's go to the comments, and Dave, pull a couple up, and let's see if we can have some fun here. AOTV Productions says, hey guys, what do you think of Fred Ottman getting inducted into the Hall of Fame this year alongside with Earthquake? What do you think?
I literally woke up thinking about I have to call Fred. And because when I worked with Dusty in Florida Championship Wrestling, I managed Fred. He was the big steel man.
I didn't know that.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh, he's connected to everybody.
Yeah. I literally woke up thinking of him today.
What else we got? By the way, Fred Ottman is going to be on 83 Weeks. We're going to do an interview here,
Nice.
I think, next week. So we'll have a chance to hear from him.
What a great human being.
He sounds like a great. I see him every once in a while at conventions, and we, say hello, short conversations. But Super Dave, keep them rolling, Dave. Don't make me ask for him. Travis Midway, hey gents, much love to all three of you. Just wondering on Lex and DDP's nutrition diets these days, has Eric converted you yet to carnivore and fasting yet? Amazing to see all three of you healthy and happy. You ever thought about carnivore?
Absolutely. I love protein. I can survive on protein only. I eat very minimal carbs now because I can't work out like I used to sort of maintain healthy body weight. Being as active as I was, I eat mainly protein with just enough carbs to give me some energy.
Sure.
But man, I'd rather eat like protein all day long. I love protein.
You ever thought about it?
No, I have. And I'm very, I don't know if I have that discipline yet, but I look at it in what you did and how you feel, and I'm going to start following that doctor. And
It's Dr. Sean Baker,
Yeah.
SHAWN Baker,
And I
Baker
turned you
MD on X.
And I turned you on to that. Maddie, do me a favor. Go out to my car. I want to let them both try the. It's in my white cooler. Just pop the lid off and grab the 2 bags of ribeye. Because
yeah,
want to show that because that's the only. Whenever there's a small company that's doing good things and puts out a really good product, and it's not cheap, but it is so worth it. I try to give them a little boost. I don't even want anything for it. I just want to.
No, I get it. I'm the same way. I get excited. There's a product I use called Perfect Aminos. Gary Brecka,
Right.
is the guy that created it. It's a complete, all 8 essential amino acids. So I take like 5 servings a day, which is 25 of these tablets. And you get one serving, 5 tablets, gives you the equivalent of 30 grams of whey protein. No calories, 0 calories. So like I like to fast, as Travis brought up. I'm a big believer in fasting. I do a couple 5-day fasts.
You don't eat anything for 5 days?
I don't eat anything for
I've
5
done
days.
13. Water only.
Wow.
Just water. No, I include coffee when I do
Right.
it, but no food for 5 days.
You put nothing in your coffee too, right?
No, just black.
Mm.
When I'm fasting,
Yeah.
occasionally I'll throw cream in it if
Right.
I'm not, but because cream is carnivore,
Right.
It's an animal product,
Sure.
so you can justify it. But it does have sugar in it, and I'm really super sensitive to sugar, so I stay away from it as best I can. But yeah, I love the carnivore diet. I started following Sean Baker. He's and I'll send you some information, Lex. He's a orthopedic surgeon,
Absolutely.
58 years old. I think he's like 6'5", 6'6", whatever, 270 pounds or something like that. He is currently setting competitive rowing records, and he's been carnivore for 8 years. He was the first person I heard talk about it. I jumped on it, and I'm never going back.
Lex, one of the guys we have, Justin Dobbins, 6'7", 698 pounds. In 22 months, just carnivore, he lost 402 pounds and went from not being able to be in down dog to go by. He was in his at 500s doing the workout. In the beginning, he was just walking, but then he wanted to have the mobility.
Right.
And again, one of the champions because he's like, wow. And that's the first person I ever heard that was carnivore. Then you told me. And then we got Jim, and he was jacked last night, man. It was really, really interesting to watch his body change. It was already looking good, but now, like, pretty crazy.
I was always taught carbs were your fuel, your energy. So how do you get having energy without carbs? I always said, I gotta have some carbs. How do you transition to all protein? Where do you get your energy? I always look at protein as for your muscles, like the oil in your engine, where in the gas tank is where you pour your carbs. You don't want to do too many. I always through the years balance my look in wrestling through carb manipulation, high, low, medium, to stay lean. So I'm like, well, where do you? When I go low carb, I have low energy. So that's where I can't just go.
Well, see, with the
carbs.
bodybuilder diet, you're going low carb and low fat, right? You're eating a lot of chicken, a lot of fish.
So you get energy through the fats.
Nutritional fat. That's why, eating a steak, there's a lot of healthy nutritional fat. Like when I eat a steak, now last night I didn't because I was actually just getting full. But typically if I eat a New York strip, there's nothing left on the plate. I don't trim off the fat. I eat the fat because that's where the energy is.
That's where ribeye comes in, right?
Yeah.
More fat.
Yeah, it's amazing. All right, we got another one, Super Dave. Ant Evans. Hey, Ant Evans. GDP. No one in American life has had a greater third act than you. I turned 48 last week, and you continue to be an inspiration to me. Bang!
Thank you, bro.
That's a great dude. He's a great guy.
It just comes down to friggin' doing what saved me in wrestling. And I'm just going to take care of myself. Everything I've done for everybody else started with me, and everything.
You're the guinea pig.
I'm the human guinea pig. And I would never tell anybody to do something that I don't do myself,
Well, and I went to his house yesterday after we left here. We're going to get back to a couple more questions in just a minute, and then we'll probably be wrapping this up in, an hour and a half or 2 hours.
I'm giving that to you, E.
Oh, thank you very much. I can't eat and talk at the same time, so I'll save it for when we're done. They are
Chicken
delicious,
sliders.
though. But I forgot what I was going to ask. So let's go to a question. Super Dave. Alex Constantino. Lex Booker T talked about your Hall of Fame induction recently and put you over big and was very happy for you. Do you and Dallas have any Booker stories? I don't know. Pick one. Do you have a Booker story?
You know, they lean on me, a guy who's the guy who, this principal who, locked the doors from the drug dealers. What was his name? Do you know the story I'm talking about? Well, either way, he had he got drugs out of his school because they were selling drugs in the school.
Okay.
And so it's me and Book, and we are up. And now this is a holding area for guys, not for kids who could go to the joint if they don't get their shit together. They're all going to the joint. Like, this is the layover in between. And I get up there and I do my thing. And then Book gets up there and he tells his story about being a gangster and, robbing, him and his buddies, robbing all these, fast food places and getting caught and doing time. And just the way he talked to these guys knocked me on my ass. Because I'm like, wow, Book. I go, I didn't know. He goes, I don't want anybody to know yet, but I'm going to want everybody to know. And he says, when I get to a point where I write my book, and I never stole a soul, but to see Booker T and what he, first of all, does for reality wrestling,
Sure.
which is off the charts. And him and Charmel have been running that company over 10 years now. I mean, and killing it. And they're growing. I mean, some of this, like we just did LFG, Legends and Future Greats.
Yeah.
And that's a book show. And we got to spend some time, and he showed me one of the bloodline coming up. And Zoa, this kid, wow. He did a promo across the table like a Godfather type of thing. And they're shooting it with Apple TV, iPhones. And the way they shot it, and you can get to me, but he has to go through the gauntlet because he's got 3 guys he's got to fight before he gets to Booker. Like, this kid is so over, and Book's like, he won't be with me much longer. It's just a matter of time.
Right.
And he is getting so seasoned. Like, what a great place to have that. So to see what Book, and what he does is he helps young men like so much. And just the give back thing for him. And he's been talking about it, and he talks about it and then he does it. And ultimate respect for that cat.
How about you? Any Booker stories?
Not a specific story, just I've learned his story. I never knew his story behind the scenes. Always a talented guy in the ring, always an upbeat guy to be around.
Always upbeat. Yeah.
But which I always loved about Booker T, but to hear his story and where he's come through, what he's been through, where he's at now, and how he reaches out and gives back to others. And once again, we talk about our experience. I have a lot of experience we use to encourage others.
Right.
He's doing that, but what he's been, whether it's addiction counseling, if you've been through addictions, they'll listen to you because you've been through it, drugs or alcohol, and you come out the other side. So they'll tune into you. If you go back and talk to young men who are struggling and have been incarcerated, they'll listen to him because he's been there.
Yeah.
They say, I can understand him. So they won't listen. They'll be like this for other people. They'll listen. So he uses that experience that probably was not the best time in his life, once again, to encourage and help those young men. So it's pretty. He's a unique guy, and I have massive respect for him.
And well, the guy who he ended up cutting down, because Stevie, was obviously his big brother, but he's like, you get out, you got mop floors, you be the best. You do this, you do that, and you be the best. I don't care what, clean toilets, you do it the best. Mm-hmm. And then the guy that they were working for is the guy who sent them, because they didn't have any money, but he paid for the money to pay it forward so he could go and go to wrestling school. And it wasn't much longer out of that when you gave him a developmental deal and started the same thing like you did with Kidman. And what a run. 2 Hall of Famers, Booker and double. It was so funny. Freaking, I was watching LFG the other night, and Bubba said to Booker, is it important for you to have to wear both your Hall of Fame rings? And he said, absolutely.
Super Dave, we got another one here. Gareth Jones wants to know, fantastic to see 3 Hall of Famers together. Well-deserved and great chat. Lex DDP, were your favorite superstars to work with in both WWE and WCW? That was a form of a question. Who were your favorite people to work with in WWF or WCW?
That's such a difficult question. I had the privilege of working with all the really top, almost every top guy in my era. And there's guys I wrestled more, like obviously Nate, and I loved working with Sting. We usually work side by side a lot, but man, I wrestled with a guy who's special to me was the one who really took the time to be a real teacher with me in the ring. Guys always kind of led me around through the ring. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, as far as in the ring, I worked like a long time. Now it'd be almost about a 6 to 9 month program with him.
Right.
U.S. title. And he started out, he did all the house shows with me. We ran a lot of house shows back then.
Yeah.
He called the whole match. And we'd go over it afterwards. And he'd tell me why I did that, why I called that there.
Wow, that's a gift.
At the beginning, how we got things started right, then how we set the heat, how we maintained the heat, how we came out of the heat into a comeback to make more meaningful. He explained all that to me with him calling it. Then he said, I'm going to let you, about 3 months, he said, I'm going to let you call the beginning of the match. I was like, wow, Ricky Steamboat doesn't let me call it because you're ready for it. So I'd call the beginning of the match. But then he'd go back in the locker room afterwards and tell me what I did right or wrong and what I called and why. And then he then finally got to the point where he said, I'm going to let you call the beginning of the match and the heat. I was like, wow.
It's kind of like
And go over the heat with me. Well, when you did that big move on me, then pick me up and slam me because it made no sense. Let the big move sell itself and cover me there. Don't follow up the big move with something less and then cover me. He went over all that psychology, and he went over all that. So
the lost art.
We got to the final pay-per-view, Tim and I, and it was in Baltimore. I'll never forget. And Ricky the Dragon Steamboat comes to me, locked me, goes, "Hey Lex," I go, "Yeah." I go, he goes, "You're going to call the whole match tonight?" I go, "No way, Ricky. It's a big pay-per-view." He goes, "You're ready."
Snatch the pebble.
I go, "You're going to let me call your Ricky Dragon's comeback? Because you're going to call the whole thing, including my comeback." Man, I had him slamming me off the top. And that's him and Flair did. I was bouncing all over the ring. But he taught me the psychology. So after that, whoever I worked with, the top guy, I finally could call a match and have it make some sense. Never was the greatest interviewer or working business. Ricky took the time to really give me some basics that gave me confidence that unless I worked with a really experienced guy, I was kind of lost in that. So Ricky took the time to really teach me. So he was very special.
He gave
I'm
you
very
a heck
grateful
of a
for
gift
what
that a
Ricky
lot
did.
of people wouldn't do. There are people that would intentionally set you down the wrong kind of path to see you fail because that's how the business can be.
We talk about
sometimes.
passion. I see Ricky now at a lot of conventions. We do the Legends deal with WWE and signs. I'll see him. We have a young guy at the table or something. Show him how to do proper holds and sell. I mean, Ricky has a passion for teaching.
Was he ever a heel? I don't think he was he?
That I can remember.
I
Yeah,
mean, he's just
I mean,
pure
he may be
babyface,
the
man.
only one who was a babyface his entire career, and I think one of the best.
His
ever.
ex-wife was a heel. I know that for sure.
Well,
Amazing guy though on teaching. You know, he has a real passion for it.
for me, of course, Savage would be the one.
He's one of my favorites. Yeah.
Savage for you?
Yeah, man, it's changing my. But I loved working with Raven and Canyon, and
It didn't drive you crazy that Macho wrote everything down before him.
no, because I did it all too. You know that.
You
I knew
should have
everything.
watched these two together. It was like they'd sit down
Whose
for
notes
hours.
overrode his?
His.
I thought so.
His. You know what though? You trust him. You know one of my favorite moments I was
So
talking
give the
about.
audience the only context that is we normally in our era a lot was called extemporaneously in the ring, reading the crowd. And when a guy came to you with a list of the match move for move for, and you're like, "Are you kidding me?" So yeah, you guys were a lot of that.
They were an anomaly.
Yes, now a lot of the guys
Yeah,
do that.
feud
For the interviews.
of the damn year, bro. We had a hell of a run. But when you look at like Stinger, I remember the first time I'm working with him And it's 96. I remember because someone just sent me the video. I talked about it a while ago, but January 24th of 1996. And I walked in and said, so what do you want to do, Stinger? He goes, what do you want to do? I said, what do I want to do? He goes, yeah, you put it together. Mm-hmm. And that was the first time that I friggin' had a little standing ovation when I came through the curtain. Yeah. And Michael E.S. Hayes, who laughed his ass off when I told him I was going to be a wrestler. Next day, I ran home. And when I got home, I would go to the gym, go to Doc West, go get a deep muscle massage, get tan, and be home by 7:30. And I forgot something, so I was running home, running out the door. And as I hear the machine go off, I got to go to the machine. I hear, Page, pay ass. So I ran to the phone, grabbed the phone. Hey, Michael, what's up, bro? He's, God damn mother. I go, what's the matter? What's the matter? Page, you know how sometimes you want to leave a message in the middle of the day for somebody? I said, yeah. He goes, you want me to hang up so you can call back and leave a message? No, fuck it. You're on the damn thing. He goes, Page, saw your match last night. We all did. Great job. Click.
Short and to the point.
Super Dave, what do we got? Chris Lynch, Dallas. I grew up a town over from Toms River, New Jersey. Helping people the way you do takes toughness. Did growing up in New Jersey help mold that fighter mentality in you? Thanks for all you do, and congrats, Lex.
Well, thank you, Jersey boy. Jersey people are pretty hard-headed. We take a lot of shit being across.
Gritty, man. You're gritty.
Being down the street from New York where they think Jersey's a joke. Bottom line is, I don't know. If I get something on my mind and I get something I'm passionate about, I'm going to do it.
What's the Winston Churchill? Never quit. His famous quote.
Yeah.
Gritty, man.
Keep moving forward.
What do we got? AOTV Productions again. Hey, guys, who do you think should be in the Hall of Fame that isn't already? And that's always such a tough one.
Bam Bam Bigelow for starters.
Well, there you go. Yeah. There you go. We got time for one or two more. So let's Dan Norton, DDP Yoga changed my life, especially last year with Positively Unstoppable Challenge. Will we get to see Dallas put Eric through the DDPY gauntlet?
What's the gauntlet?
You explain it.
Yes.
And I'll answer the question.
The gauntlet is you start off with the cold. Well, first we have a conversation.
Oh, the cold.
The cold plunge, the oxygen training, and the
oh my gosh.
We had power because we were running so late. You will see most of it. We didn't get DDP yoga in because we were both pretty blown up by the time because it was so late at night because lack of communication on my end. But yes, you will definitely see. And he really grabbed the hold of the power cuff. So
yeah, I'll explain. So we filmed it yesterday, and definitely going to. Paige is gonna put it up on his site or whatever. And we did film the gauntlet thing. I asked him to hold off until May because on May 27th I turned 70, and about a year ago I made a commitment to kind of expose myself, so to speak, and really change my body composition. I got really serious.
I noticed we got the card today. I was like, wow, Eric, I hadn't seen you in person. Oh, I saw you from the neck and shoulders up on your podcast.
Yeah.
What a transformation. Incredible.
And it's just
how
been
fit you look.
Amazing. Thank you, by the way. Thank you, especially coming from you. But it's just diet and just making a commitment to go to the gym and quit drinking.
Huge difference.
And I'll have a glass of wine here and there. It's not like I'm abstaining for life.
I mean, you look huge. I mean, you look so incredible.
But on May 27th, I'm going to, because you have never seen a picture of me with my shirt off. Neither one of you. I would put $1 million in cash on a table if I had it. I'd put $1 million in cash on a table and say it's yours if you could find one picture of me with my shirt off, other than inside the wrestling ring. That doesn't count because I did wrestle as a biscuit and had my shirt off. But that was like a long time ago, and there's a reason for that. There's a reason there's not a lot of pictures of me with my shirt off. But I thought, you know what? I'm going to quit being what's the word? Overly self-aware and afraid to let people, because I'm vain, I've still got some pride and, but But I said, when I'm on May 27th on my 70th birthday, I'm going to do an unveiling. And it won't be much. To me, it will be. So we're going to hold off on showing it until after May 27th.
Oh, a tease.
Because I got 10.
That's a drip. Drip master, that's a good drip.
I got 10 more pounds to go before we go all the way.
Can't wait.
So, yeah.
That's great.
Super Dave, what do we got? Ant Mauricio, you guys look great. Lex, congrats on your Hall of Fame nod. Any memories, insight from the runs as team package with Flair or totally buffed with Bagwell?
Well, just working with Rick, obviously one of the best ever in the ring, out of the ring. Rick always had a quality of not only of being a huge star, but also a star maker. The way he worked with guys, he always brought out the best in me. He brought the best in Sting. You hear so many guys talk about it. So working with Rick was always special. And I had a great time with Buff. We were good personal friends outside of the ring, still are. And Buff and I had a great time working together. We travel on the road together quite a bit. So working
both like it cold.
Mark's a fun guy. I mean, Mark is, we talk about it, he's a great storyteller. So I really enjoyed my time working with Marcus as well, for sure.
All right, by the way, I had a little bite of this just a few moments ago. Where is the camera? I keep looking around for the camera. Right there. I had a couple bites of this. So here's what we're going to do, folks. This stuff is awesome. I had some of it last night for dinner. This is grass-fed, grass-finished, no flavoring. This is a small little company. It's the same company I think it is. They've struggled with regulations and all kinds of people trying to put them out of business because of the processing and what they don't do.
Yeah.
So yeah, check them out. Look it up. It's absolutely delicious product, and I've fallen in
It's
love
like
with
real meat in a bag.
and it's got a good flavor.
It's unbelievable. Yeah,
it's not dry and just flavorless like a lot. All right, enough shilling. One more. Scott Kobe or Kobe. GDP always mentioned Dusty Rhodes, but what is the best advice Dusty gave you, and how proud are you of Cody?
Oh, ridiculously.
talk for 3 hours about that.
Yeah, ridiculously. Proud of him. More than anything, he and I were sharing stories about it when he left WWE. Like, it takes guts and balls to literally walk away, which I don't know how much money he was making then, but I bet it's about $500,000. Mm-hmm. And you say, nah, you know what? I want my release because I see myself here. You see me here. And I got to go on this journey. And damn,
that was so Dusty.
So dusty. And, that's it. Comes from his daddy's loins, as he would say. Sure. So yeah, I'm super proud. And there's so many moments where, being there, especially over the first WrestleMania, because I was there with him through all of that. And the second one, when looks like Rock was coming in, and there was just one piece of advice, and he said it was the best piece of advice I ever told him. I said, all I can tell you right here is everything that has looked like it was the worst thing to ever happen to me has turned out to be the best. Mm-hmm. And I said, if you can just breathe, told him how to breathe, and keep believing that. And dude, I got a message from Rock. I'll play for you later. It's pretty cool. I got 3 messages from Rock. It was one message, but it was a long one. Just like forgetting it, like seeing what they were doing. I put it over like crazy, because Rock is the biggest star in the fucking world.
Yeah, he is.
You know what I mean? And he's one of us. Last night I was watching a show called, it's new on Apple. It's called Studio. Mm. And at one point, how these LA people are, and hold on. I got John Cena on the phone right now. Hey, John. And he was doing it, but he used John Cena's name. Batista, just saw him in Showgirls. He killed it. I mean, these guys are one of us. Yeah. And now it isn't back like when we came up and friggin' we were looked down on. They're looking at it like, wow, these guys can do this, and that.
Like
Oh.
Eric talked about earlier,
Big
chops as far as being able to be on camera. And,
Yep.
yeah.
A to Z.
Well, guys, I want to first of all thank all of you who watched this here today. I've been so looking forward to doing this interview because there's two guys that I love dearly and have come to respect. And it's great to tell you in person how much I love you and how much I respect you.
Yeah.
It's quite the
Thank you.
journey and the
Yeah.
transition. And Paige, you're an amazing human being. You're an amazing human being. Proud to know you. And what a great thing you've done here with Steve and the rest of your team. You've done such a great job. You're helping a lot of people. You're giving professional wrestling a good name. And that's a hell of a hard thing to do sometimes.
is.
So
It
congratulations. Thank all of you. We're going to wrap it up here, and we'll see you next time. 83weeks.com.
See ya.
All right.
Hey, it's Conrad Thompson here to tell you a little more about what adfreeshows.com is all about. Get early, ad-free access to more than a dozen of your favorite wrestling podcasts every single week, starting at just $9. That's less than 20 cents an episode each month. And yes, you can listen to them all directly through Apple Podcasts or your regular podcast apps. How easy is that? Ad-free shows also has thousands of hours worth of bonus content and docuseries like Title Chase, Eric Fires Back, Conversations with Conrad, and The Insiders. Plus new series like The Book with David Crockett, Monday Mailbags with Mike Chioda and Nick Patrick, and a whole lot more. And you want to talk about early? You can't get any earlier than listening to the shows live. You can be a part of the live studio audience as we record the podcast. Plus, ride shotgun alongside your favorite childhood heroes for live watch-alongs, Q&As, and other interactive experiences every single month. Come on now, see for yourself what thousands of other wrestling fans from around the world have discovered, that adfreeshows.com is the best value in wrestling. Check it out today, and hey, when you do, the first week is completely free. adfreeshows.com.